They're underway at West Ham. Rob Green and Conor McNamara.
Thanks very much, Mark. Yes, packed stadium at London Stadium. West Ham on the first attack of the game, and Tati Castellanos plays it off the defender Marcus Senesi, and that is an immediate corner from kick-off for West Ham. Two teams who've enjoyed an upturn of form in recent weeks. West Ham who've won 3 of their last 5 Premier League games. They're into the 5th round of the FA Cup. They've taken 10 points from those last 5 Premier League matches. Bournemouth, who have taken 14 points in their last 6 Premier League games. And here comes the first corner of the day, and Bowen's in swinger, and it's flicked out, off the goal line, and somehow scrambled away. The referee points to his watch. It didn't vibrate. The ball didn't go over the line, but you can't get much closer than that. Axel Disasi, on loan from Chelsea, nearly scoring his first ever goal for West Ham.
And he can't believe he's missed. He's from a yard out. He's got the initial header in. And then between Petrovic and his defenders, managing to get it off the line. They've got the rebound, and Truffert has just got a little touch, which Sam Barrett, the referee, hasn't seen. But it's a vital touch that sends it over the bar. And Conor was just about to say before the kickoff, set pieces, there is a mismatch everywhere for me at West Ham. They are giants compared to Bournemouth. That's going to be one of the key areas for West Ham if they're going to win this game tonight. That
could have been a remarkable start for West Ham. An early scare, but Bournemouth survive it. West Ham, who've made 10 changes for the FA Cup game against Burton last weekend. In terms of the Premier League, one alteration from the last league match here, that draw against Manchester United, the late equaliser for Michael Carrick's team. Freddie Potts, who picked up a red card last weekend, is suspended today. So Sunguta Magassa's come back into the West Ham midfield as Bournemouth win a free kick midway inside West Ham territory. Bournemouth wearing their change strip, they're all in blue today, playing from right to left as we look down. There has been a bit of rain, bit of cloud, bit of mist, but it is dry at kick-off here this Saturday tea time in the East End of London. So free kick to Bournemouth. Give you a full rundown of the teams in just a moment, but Mugassa in for Potts is the one change for West Ham, and Tyler Adams back, his first appearance since mid-December. He's into the team along with Eli Junior Krupi for Bournemouth. Those are the 2 changes for the visitors today. Free kick's going to be taken by the reliable Adrien Truffert. Here it comes, left-footed, swung into a packed penalty area. Flag races on the far side, and Bournemouth had strayed offside. So the West Ham team, Mads Hermansen, who's been recently promoted back into the team, he starts a 3rd Premier League match in a row. The back 4 is Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Kostas Mavropanos, Axel Disasi and El Hadji Malik Diouf. In midfield, Matej Fernandes alongside Sunguta Magassa. Then a line of 3 with Bowen and Somerville either side of Souček in the middle, and Tati Castellanos leading the line up top. He got his first Premier League goal at Burnley 2 league games ago, and he's on the attack now. Down the right-hand side, Castellanos, number 11, great ball in, and a shot from Somerville is saved by Petrovic. That's 2 huge chances for West Ham, and might they rue not taking either of those.
Another massive chance. As you're saying, it's Castellanos, really good link-up play initially, and he had the patience and the vision to wait for Somerville. And then Somerville, he's in top form, full of confidence, but goes with his wrong leg, goes with the outside of his right leg. It actually comes off his calf, and he just cushions it back to Petrovic. As you say, these are glorious opportunities for West Ham.
West Ham have started this game at a scorching pace. Bowen comes forward. Well tackled, though, in the midfield by Amin Adli. That was an excellent challenge. Just completely won the ball fairly, but barged Bowen out of the way. Down the other end, Rayan, the teenager, shoots from well outside the penalty area, and it bounces a couple of times and up into the gloves of Mads Hermansen. And this game has started in a lively fashion, Rob. 0-0, 4 minutes played.
4 minutes in and 4 shots already. I'm wondering whether you're saying, oh, Bournemouth won't mind a basketball match, and you're just thinking, well, West Ham really wouldn't like that. You're feeling they're a slow, more controlled game from West Ham, maybe, but the way they've started, both going at it.
I've seen Ryan play twice already. This is my 3rd time seeing the Brazilian teenager. I mean, we're fortunate for this job. We get to see these starlets arrive and people looking bright away. This guy looks so special. He's only 19 years of age. He's got 2 Premier League goals already, 2 in his last 2 Premier League games, and he's just so direct. He takes the ball, and as we saw a minute ago, he just wants to shoot. He wants to score goals. He's not interested in going back or passing to the midfield. He's one of the most direct young players I've ever seen.
Yeah, and he's full of confidence at the minute coming into the Premier League, but also he makes defences step back. And all of a sudden you saw that initially West Ham step back, and I said, well, I'll tell you what, you shoot from 30 yards, we'll take the chances from there. They've got another free kick now, West Ham, but this has been a lively start.
Mateus Fernandes standing over the set piece. West Ham with their traditional claret and blue, playing from left to right as we look down. Bournemouth holding a line right along the edge of their penalty area here. There's two West Ham players who have crept in behind that three now, who will be hoping to be active by the time the ball may come to them, but in what is a very deliberately offside position as the free kick prepares to be taken. Here it comes from Fernandes, lofted, looking for the height of Souček on the far side, and header at the end from Mavropanos comes brushing off the side netting. Konstantinos Mavropanos, the Greek, who has scored one Premier League goal ever in his West Ham United career, and wasn't close to adding to that tally there. West Ham United 0, Bournemouth 0. This is 5 Live from the BBC. And what's already been a busy day across the sporting spectrum, particularly in the Premier League. Manchester City to play Newcastle later on tonight at 8 o'clock. City, who could be moving up to within 2 points of Arsenal's lead in the table. North London derby tomorrow, which you can hear on 5 Live, as ball is played forward by Souček, who's cut late there by Scott in the midfield. The referee today, who's Sam Barrett, comes across and gives the free kick. Free kick to West Ham on the halfway line. Yeah,
there's a couple of times already Souček's been caught, and he's reading the game now just a little bit quicker than the Bournemouth midfield. He's the most progressive or most advanced midfielder for West Ham, and that link-up play of Tati Castellanos is key in there, because he's getting the layoffs really, really well in these opening 5 minutes. It's been a few times already, and Souček's just cute enough to know where to be, how to be there. He's got in there a chance, and another free kick.
Half-time in the Six Nations. Wales leading Scotland 17 points to 5. 2 tries for Wales in the first half. We'll keep you up to date when that gets back underway in the second period. The free kick is taken towards the edge of the Bournemouth penalty area here. Comes back to Wan-Bissaka, who plays it somewhat awkwardly straight up into the air. Souček tries to get control again, spins it over to Malik Diouf on the left-hand side, really high towards the edge of the penalty area, where Souček again battling for it, and Jared Bowen as well. And there's a clash, and Bowen was jumping in the air with James Hill on that occasion. Hill slow to get back up to his feet, but he won't need medical attention. It is a free kick to Bournemouth on the edge of the box.
Yeah, aggressive start from West Ham, front foot, they're pressing high. I was wondering how they set up and come out, and it is very much a 4-4-2 off the ball, but they're leaving themselves 4v4 at the back, which, you look at the likes of Adley and Ryan, Groupie, the pace and the fleet-footedness of them, there is that element of risk there. But West Ham feel that they've got to win today to keep it alive, to keep themselves with that momentum in the Premier League.
Things were looking very worrying for West Ham not so long ago. I mean, not so long ago, things weren't looking great for Bournemouth. Turn of the year, they were 15th place in the table. They can go joint 7th tonight. Here's Eli Junior Krupi, low ball into the penalty areas. Played straight towards DCC, and a chance for West Ham to clear away. They hold on to it here. Succession of triangular passes on the edge of the area, and then played out into space by Wan-Bissaka towards Malik Diouf. But you can hear the applause in the background. It was a really good pass to Malik Diouf, and he has somewhat spoiled it by miscontrolling, and the ball goes out for a Bournemouth throw.
It's just a really slippy patch of the pitch there. just caught him out and skidded off, but it's good play from both teams.
West Ham 0, Bournemouth 0. Truffert in possession on the left-hand side for Bournemouth. Plays it in towards Adley, who scored Bournemouth's winner against Everton last time out. And Alex Scott now has possession in the midfield. He'll help it back to Adley, over to the right-hand side again, where Alex Jimenez is available. Back into a more central position now with James Hill. Andoni Iraola not down in the technical area today. He's picked up 3 Premier League yellow cards, most recently against Everton 11 days ago, so he's watching in the stands. I believe, Rob, he might be sitting just a few rows behind us. I can't see him, but that's my intel. I believe he's even further away from the pitch than us, Rob, which takes some doing in his wide arc of a London stadium.
I hope he's got a bigger screen than us in front of us as well, because you can't make much out.
Senesi to Truffert for Bournemouth on the left-hand side. Bowen in rapid pursuit back after him. Truffert, who's always comfortable on the ball, just veers in field of that and then rolls the ball calmly back to James Hill, who was Bournemouth's player of the match in their most recent game against Everton on Merseyside. Rayan on the right-hand side here for Bournemouth, plays it back to the halfway line again to Hill. And now Senesi, Marcus Senesi, who has been the top assist provider for Bournemouth this season, which is an interesting one for a central defender. And he does launch it direct into the penalty area there. Good run made by Scott, but it is cushioned back to the goalkeeper, Hernansson.
Yeah, Senesi has a lot of progressive passes, really good vision, and feeling that he's the next one off the rank, really, for Bournemouth to be moving on to you say bigger and better things. You're not sure where it is yet, but his contract's expiring. He is another star for the future.
It's amazing. It doesn't seem to trouble Bournemouth. You look at the talent that they have sold over the recent years, and they just keep respawning these brilliant players. I mean, you think of the goalkeeper last season was Kepa. They had obviously Kirkesh, who went to Liverpool. There's Sabani, who went to Paris Saint-Germain. They had Hauser, who went to Real Madrid. It's incredible how any other team would collapse losing that sort of spine.
It's not a bad resume of clubs either.
Yeah, exactly. You're doing something right when you're selling your players to them. Adley tries to swing it across to the left-hand side here, but it's too close to Hermansson, and West Ham will try and get it down the other end. This is Mateus Fernandes, number 18 on his back, rolls it over to the left-hand side to Crescencio Somerville. What an important part he's been to this resurrection we've seen from West Ham in recent times. He's scored, Somerville, in 6 of his last 7 games in all competitions. And I think any team, relegation zone thereabouts, moving into the new year, you need one player to start banging in the goals. You look traditionally over the years, teams that stay up, they find a goal scorer, and West Ham seem to have found it in Crescencio Somerville.
Yeah, he started early. If you're going to do it, he's got to keep on doing it now for another dozen games or so, but he's certainly showing that confidence and that form.
Interception by Mavropanos, just to illustrate how attack-minded West Ham have been in the early stages. They had 4 shots in the first 6 minutes of this match. Bowen crosses from the right-hand side, too close to Senesi here, who's got work to do under the attention of Teti Castellanos, but he calmly just lobs the ball back into the path of the goalkeeper. Jordan Petrovic is wearing bright yellow away to our right-hand side. Speaking of goalkeepers, with you alongside, Rob, nice little moment for Ludek McCluskey, who's not well at the moment, but they had his name on the screen. Jimmy Walker's down the pitch talking about him. West Ham very much with Ludek McCluskey in their mind as a club at the moment.
Yeah, thoughts and wishes go out to Ludo. He's a fantastic man and has had the best song in football.
I was hoping you were going to sing it there.
Oh, no, I'll just let everyone else just search it. I'll save it till you find it for the West Ham fans to sing it. Not for me.
0-0 here, just a little bit of a delay. Bournemouth have got a free kick outside their penalty area, sort of a right back position, and there was a dispute over which position that would be played from. Earlier on today in the Premier League, Aston Villa got a late equaliser at home against Leeds United. Tammy Abraham with his first Premier League goal since returning to these shores. That was an 88th minute equaliser. Villa 1, Leeds 1. The other side of London from where we are right now, Brentford were beaten at home 2-0. First win in 7 for Brighton. Keith Andrews' team, a rare defeat for what's been a very good season for them. But that means that a Bournemouth win here can see them move level with Brentford, who were in 7th place, should Bournemouth win here. Tussle for the ball in the midfield. Senesi sliding in was Bowen. West Ham fans love that. He didn't actually win back possession, but the grit, the determination he showed drew a standing ovation around the ground. And now Somerville is going to chase after one down the left-hand side. Jimenez has bleached his hair blonde since his most recent appearance, sprints back to put pressure on Somerville, and the ball goes out for a West Ham throw. West Ham 0, Bournemouth 0. Rob Green.
Yeah, really good energy. Jared Bowen's getting from the fans, and Jimenez is winding them up on that far side corner. I'm not sure why you choose to do that. You're up against Somerville, the man in form, and then every little altercation, every little one-on-one they have down there, he's in amongst the West Ham fans, giving it to them. So that's one to watch.
In Scotland, Hearts beat Falkirk by a 1-0. They move 5 points clear at the top of the table. Mavropanos has possession here for West Ham, brings it up to the halfway line. 0-0 on 5 Live in this tea time kickoff. Earlier on today in the rugby, and I may be mentioning this a few times over the next couple of hours, Rob. England 21, Ireland 42. Ireland's record win at Twickenham as Mugasa tries to cross to the right-hand side. It's gone out by Trufair. Tyler Adams gets a little flick on. He can only give it to Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Bowen stretches well. Souček as well. West Ham are really battling for it. They've got their sleeves rolled up today. Adams wins back possession for Bournemouth. But Bournemouth, who like to play it out for the back, are finding it difficult to do so under this enthusiasm being shown by Nuno Espirito Santo's team.
Yeah, they're making it a scrap, aren't they? You're just looking and you're thinking, there's not really Evan Nilsson up against Disasi.
As Hill is forced to stretch against Somerville, and West Ham fans feeling that was a foul, and the central defender had to really stretch, but he did get the ball. Goes out of play, throw-in is taken quickly. Somerville into the penalty area, trying to shrug off Jimenez, crosses it in towards Souček. I thought that was a really good delivery. Souček wasn't expecting it, he didn't challenge. Trufair knew there was no space for gambling, he puts it out for a corner. That was really dangerous for Crescencio Somerville.
Yeah, really sharp, really quick feet, just looking for that half a yard, drew two men. And a drifted ball toward the far post. Trufair taking no chances, but he's just feeling that energy at the minute is with West Ham. They're pressing high. They know if they let Bournemouth play, they're going to allow spaces. So they're going to try and negate them as early as possible.
Second West Ham corner of the day. They nearly scored from their first one. It's another in swinger. Header in front to the goalkeeper. Disasi wins it again, tries to power it downward. Too many bodies in the way. Jimenez is getting the boos from the West Ham fans. Clears it off Malik Diouf, and that will go out for a throw-in to the visitors. Right full-back position. Yeah, he's one of those fiery characters, Jimenez. He wants this battle. He wants this extra drama.
Yeah, he's terrific, isn't he? He's a bit of a pantomime villain. I'm not sure whether he's been seeing his compatriot Cucurella, but it's a similar sort of theatrics. But at home, when he plays at home, he picks a fight with the opponent. Now he's picking a fight with about 60,000.
So he's going to get booed for every game. You'll know whenever he's in possession. As Petrovic regains the ball for Bournemouth away to our right-hand side. West Ham United 0, Bournemouth 0, and we've played 16 minutes now. Tomorrow we'll bring you Nottingham Forest against Liverpool. That is the 2 p.m. kick-off in the Premier League. It's all building up towards the big game of the weekend. Spurs against Arsenal, the North London derby. Commentary with correspondent John Murray tomorrow on 5 Live at 4:30. Bournemouth trying to go long towards Evan Nilsson, who's barely had a touch so far, but easily won by Disasi. And West Ham come through the midfield. Good work by Alex Scott to win possession back for Bournemouth. Here is Tyler Adams, the USA international, who'll be very pleased to be back playing again after injury. World Cup year, of course, for his host nation. As Adams rolls the ball back to Senesi here, and that's a good pass up towards Evan Nilsson, tries a back heel, but Disasi, who has looked sharp since being brought in from, very much in the cold at Chelsea, where he'd not been involved at all, but he hasn't shown much rustiness since coming into this West Ham United team, Disasi.
Yeah, he's been remarkable, really. You worry him, saying, is he going to come in and play? But he's played from the get-go. As soon as he stepped in the building, and then you're thinking, you're going to be up to speed, and he's just come in and looked to cut above, really. Wonderful positioning, wonderful experience, and the ability to read the game. He's seemingly just taking it all in his stride.
That big roar is because Somerville lunged himself at a well-timed tackle to dispossess the pantomime villain of the day, Alex Jimenez, who put the ball out of play for a throw-in on the far side. So throw-in to Bournemouth, 0-0 here. Match of the day tonight at 10:25 on BBC One with Mark Chapman, Michael Richards and Wayne Rooney. And you can watch the goals and all the action from today's Premier League games. 0-0 here for the moment. A very busy penalty area awaiting what looks to be a long throw about to come in here, high all the way into the 6-yard box and hooked up rather than away by Malik Diouf. Comes down to the edge of the penalty area. Trufair back into the box, hooked away by Aaron Wan-Bissaka. West Ham can't fully clear their lines as Eli Junior Krupi plays a good pass to Alex Scott in a central position, and then no easy pass forward for him, so we'll retreat it back to the halfway line once again, and Tyler Adams will come forward on the left-hand side, gives it to Trufair with the lime green-yellow boots. Back again to Tyler Adams, turns and gives it back to Senesi. Nuno Espirito Santo standing down there in a sort of waterproof rain jacket, watching the action as Amin Adli comes down the left, takes on Bowen, goes around Bowen, swings in the high cross, just too high for Rayan. Brazilian teenager sprints out of the penalty area to try and get possession. Somerville lunged in, had a touch. Malik Diouf will battle too, but Rayan is strong. He may be young, but he's fully formed, and he wins the ball back for Bournemouth. That's really impressive from him there. Bournemouth regaining possession inside West Ham territory, still 0-0.
Yeah, controlled possession and sustained pressure from Bournemouth. You're just wondering how they're going to get through. Group is drifting in and around in front of Evan Nielsen. West Ham was happy to let Bournemouth have it and say, well, you can go wide because Evan Nielsen's up against Disasi and Mavropanos, and from there you say, well, you're not going to win the header, we're going to back ourselves to win it. And so I think Bournemouth will be pleased for the ball. West Ham will be happy just to sit in the shape as they are.
West Ham United 0, Bournemouth 0. Truffert at left back for Bournemouth plays a good pass up to Krupi, and Krupi picks out lots of space on the right hand side of the field as Bournemouth come forward for James Hill. So Hill gives it to Alex Scott. Scott alongside Tyler Adams as the two in the central of the midfield. They're playing right alongside each other inside the centre circle at the moment. Truffert hugging the touchline one side, and Jimenez has actually come from that right back position to almost a centre forward position at the moment as he creeps forward. But in any regard, there's a foul on Mateus Fernandes, and that is going to be a free kick to West Ham. So let's go back to the rugby. Wales against Scotland. Here's Claire Thomas.
Well, Wales have the first points of the second half here and lead by 20 points to 5. The Scots have now conceded more points than they did all afternoon against the Italians, and as many as they did against England last week. Sam Costello with the penalty. Half an hour remains and the hosts have a 15-point buffer.
Commentary on Sports Extra with Sarah Orchard right now. That is a surprising scoreline from both the Welsh and a Scottish point of view, given recent matches. Not over yet, of course. Here in the Premier League, West Ham 0, Bournemouth 0. Thomas Souček jumping with Truffert. The loose ball spills for Bowen. Right up against the chalk of the touchline. Right wing position for West Ham. Adley gets it back for Bournemouth and Truffert clears away, but his clearance goes straight to Mavropanos. So West Ham holding on to possession inside their opponent's half. Mateus Fernandes, Mavropanos, the former Arsenal player. Back to Mateus Fernandes. Great ball infield to Tati Castellanos. He'll spin it out to the near touchline to Jared Bowen. There's a lovely move on this for West Ham. Mateus Fernandes involved again. Souček on the edge of the knee. Mugasa tries a shot, and it's charged down by Alex Scott. But considering that they have spent most of the last couple of months in the relegation zone and they're still in the bottom three right now, West Ham are playing some easy on the eye stuff here.
Yeah, they're attractive. Their off the ball movement's good.
And here comes Crescencio Somerville, trying to get in behind the defensive line. He's on the left-hand side, up against Alex Scott. Somerville with the gloves on, makes a burst for the byline, sends in a low cross, but Petrovic falls onto the ground and makes the save.
Yeah, sharp again from Somerville, going on to his left foot, cutting out wide, driving it across the box. And you're just feeling a centre-forward, Castellanos, where are you? Where's that run? He needs to be across the near post there.
Entertaining game so far, good flow to it. Wan-Bissaka clears away. Headed by Scott, a backwards header because he knew that Jimenez was directly behind him, and more booze for the Spaniard on loan from Atletico Madrid. This is Adli, Rayan, right wing. Rayan gives it back to Adli, level with the edge of the penalty area that Bournemouth are attacking. Rayan now more infield, first time touch to Jimenez. Here comes the cross into the centre. Disasi wins the header. Tati Castellanos is back helping out the defence there, but he can't fully clear. Few groans from West Ham fans there as Bournemouth immediately recapture possession. And this is Truffert on the left-hand side. We're past the midway point of the first half. 5 Live and BBC Sounds, the Premier League. This is the 5:30 kickoff. 0-0 between West Ham United and Bournemouth. Sinesi inside the centre circle gives it to Tyler Adams. This fixture, which has had a strong track record of draws between the two sides in recent years. And all square it remains for the moment here. Jimenez on to Alex Scott, and he's fouled by Castellanos, and the West Ham fans thought that was a bit cheap. But the referee gives the free kick to the visitors, midway inside the West Ham half.
Yeah, he's not happy. He's read that, Castellanos, and you feel he's got there first. He's got a toe on the ball. Scott realises it and goes down, holding his calf when no one touched him on his calf, and I just feel that's a bit of a bonus for Bournemouth. They haven't quite worked it out yet. Bournemouth on the ball, they're looking, seeing West Ham in their shape. How do we play through them? They haven't really got any balls into Evan Nielsen yet, so there's one for them to work out. But what they have got is you look at that team, that 10 the outfield players, they are all so comfortable on the ball. They're all so happy to receive, move off the ball, play in different positions. When they have possession, they're happy to be in possession.
Alex Scott is going to take the free kick. It's about 15 yards outside the penalty area. It's wide on the right-hand side. This is a crossing position. Here it comes, short run up from Scott. Good elevation of the delivery. Goalkeeper thought about coming. Senesi heads it down and it bounces kindly for Mads Hermansen. And up into his gloves, the goalkeeper wearing all orange, away to our left-hand side. Again, West Ham look to play through Bournemouth rather than launch it direct there. But Tesh Fernandez battling to hold on to possession on the far side. Helped out by Al Hadji Malik Diouf. Lugasa to Aaron Wan-Bissaka. West Ham come over the halfway line. Roars of approval to see their team heading forward here from the home fans. This is Bowen, number 20 on his back, rolls it to the tall Mugasa on the halfway line. Back to Mavropanos, good ball forward towards Bowen again. Lovely delicate touch from Jared Bowen to help it on to Castellanos, but he wasn't expecting that, and Bournemouth regained possession. Good flick from Adley. He'll roll it up to Krupi. Krupi in field to Scott. Chance of a counter-attack here if Bournemouth can get it out wide to Rayad. Good early first-time ball. Picks out Jimenez. He's unfortunate there, sort of clipped his heels as he tried to run into the penalty area. He has held on to possession, but Somerville is now back goal side. Bournemouth attacking on the right. 0-0. Back to James Hill, closer to the halfway line, but still inside West Ham territory. And the home team with all 11 players back behind the ball here is Senesi. Gives it to Truffert on the left-hand side. Can he swing in across from here? Cuts it back onto his right boot. Now back onto his left. He's up against Jared Bowen. Here comes the delivery, dangerously towards the back post where Rayan was located. And Malik Diouf didn't want to take any chances there. He puts it out for Bournemouth's first quarter of the afternoon.
Yeah, really good, confident possession from Bournemouth. They're just so happy to have the ball. I don't think there's really any answers. I was saying, yet that was one that he's saying, well, I've not got much on. I'm just going to throw it in, and threw it in and asked a question. It was actually, as you're saying, Connor, a really good ball that did ask a question of Malik Diouf at the far post. But West Ham in their shape, they've now, you're talking 25, 26 minutes into the game and said, right, OK, we're going to sit in. We're going to make it this hard for Bournemouth.
Corners have been a problem for West Ham this season. They've conceded more goals from corners than any other Premier League team. Here it comes, swung in, but a double intender out by Disasi. It really does look to be a good signing for a man who seemed to be going nowhere at Chelsea, and he's suddenly become very important for West Ham's revival. Here is Jimenez, you know, by the boos, inside the centre circle, gives it back to Scott. And Scott under pressure from Bowen to Senesi, who decides enough tiki-taka here, and he rolls it all the way back to the goalkeeper Petrovic away to our right-hand side. So West Ham's next two Premier League games are away. They go to Liverpool, then they go to Fulham. They've got a home match in the FA Cup, fifth round when they host Brentford here. And we go back to Claire Thomas, who's watching Wales against Scotland in the Six Nations.
Well, it's Wales 20, Scotland now up to 12. Gregor Townsend's men dig deep and at last unearth some accuracy via Finn Russell, dummying and swerving and then converting his own to cut the deficit to 8.
Thanks, Claire. Commentary on Sports Extra, and a reminder that the Rugby Union weekly podcast has gone daily for the duration of the Six Nations, so you can get all the reaction to today's games, this weekend's games, on BBC Sounds, and every day for the rest of the Six Nations. James Hill has possession for Bournemouth. West Ham, who started full of gusto, are not seeing quite as much of the ball inside their opponent's half at the moment, Rob Green.
No, and you're looking at Bournemouth are happy just to have the ball and keep control. You saw there, look at Adley, half volleying the ball 50 yards back into his own half, and you're just thinking, why? It's to do with control of the game, to do with controlling the balance of the game.
Bowen has won it here off Tyler Adams, and he steams away down the right-hand side. Castellanos is about a mile offside, and the flag immediately goes up. That's one of those where the assistant doesn't need to leave the flag down just in case something happens. That was way offside, and Bournemouth actually quite relieved, because that had been a decent counter-attack there from West Ham. 0-0 it remains.
Yeah, it's a funny balance within the game, isn't it? That Bournemouth are playing like the home team at the moment, and they're sort of looking and probing and thinking, how do we do this? Where do we get through these two banks of West Ham defensive lines? And they've not quite come up with an answer yet. They're not quite linking up with Evan Nielsen. Krupi's had relatively few touches. Evan Nielsen's, I think, only had one in there so far in the game. And when they do go long like they are now, you're feeling there's not really ever going to be them winning the ball.
And Nuno Espirito Santo, who's never been on the winning side against Andoni Iraola as a manager. Petrovic comes away out of his penalty area here, but he's headed it out towards the right wing as Bournemouth defend. Kept in play out there by Malik Diouf. Now Somerville skips past Jimenez, who's fouled him. Free kick just outside the penalty area. It's a crossing position on the left-hand side, and scorching pace again from Somerville as Jimenez knew he was beaten and knew he had to commit the foul there.
Well, I think Somerville knew he kicked it off the pitch as well. There wasn't much in that. Just running up, got alongside him, maybe an arm across the body, possibly enough for a foul. Jimenez, he knew what he was doing. There's a push, there's a nudge in the side. It was enough. Sam Barrett, referee, saying that's enough for a free kick, and a real opportunity for West Ham because they've been quiet after the lively start. The last 10 minutes, it's just quietening down for them. Time on the ball's been less. Feel the crowd getting up into it again.
Jimenez is a very versatile player. Can play right wing, can play right back. He has given away the foul, and he hopes it won't prove to be costly here. This is similar to a corner kick routine. It's about 5 yards in from the byline. Left-hand side as West Ham come forward. And it's a very busy 6-yard box awaiting the delivery of this. 5 live, half an hour played at London Stadium. West Ham United 0, Bournemouth 0. West Ham, who could be out of the relegation zone by the end of the weekend if they can win here, and if Forest were to lose against Liverpool tomorrow. Here comes the free kick, swung in, comes off Jimenez, and it goes out for a corner. Corner to West Ham on the right-hand side.
Tassi Castellanos have made a blistering run across the near post, and that was routine that they worked out. Get across the near post and get something on it. It was outside the line of the Bournemouth players, but they had now 2-3 set pieces and around the Bournemouth goal, and each of them proved a problem. Evan Nielsen, the cameras focus on him. He's the tallest player for Bournemouth. He's the pivotal one for them.
Here comes the latest corner kick delivery, left-footed. Jared Bowen flicked onto the front post. Castellanos thought he'd scored. He'd actually run away celebrating Castellanos there, but it went wide to the target. He can't believe it. Flick on it. He's running towards where the corner kick comes in. He flicks it on, and watch, he's away. Oh, it doesn't go in.
No. Well, you look at it. Hill, I think it is, who has a touch off Hill as well. So I think as soon as Castellanos has got that touch, he's realised that's got a chance. But there's another little deflection off Hill. There's 2 set pieces. He's gone way beyond the near post just to get a flick on, and he's won both those headers.
Castellanos, who scored in the FA Cup against Queen's Park Rangers last month, and he's scored that first Premier League goal against Burnley 2 games ago, but 0-0 it remains here. Back to Wales, Scotland in the rugby. Claire Thomas.
23-19 in Cardiff. What a few minutes. Wales lost a penalty via replacement fly half Jared Evans before Darcy Graham, with his first electric touch, scorches over down the other end. Finn Russell drains the extras like a dream. There's 4 points in it, and this place is rocking with 20 to play.
Thanks very much, Claire. And the manager will be back regularly to Claire as a yellow card is shown to Thomas Soucek here for a foul on the halfway line. Free kick to Bournemouth. Still West Ham 0, Bournemouth 0 in the Premier League.
I think he almost gave that himself. Thomas Soucek, he was that late. Knew he'd done it. Knew he'd realised and just went, sorry. The man's up immediately. Just a trip from a slide tackle. Looking at 1, 5, 6, 7 rolls from Scott, just to make sure that the yellow card did get brandished, and it did. But I think he knew.
Earlier on today, Aston Villa 1, Leeds 1, Brentford 0, Brighton 2, Chelsea 1, Burnley 1, and West Ham 0-0 here against Bournemouth as we stand. They're about to get underway in the curling final, the men's curling final of the Winter Olympics. Here's Maz Farouki.
Yeah, at one point at these Winter Games, even a shot at a medal looked out of reach for Hammy McMillan, Bobby Lammy, Grant Hardy and Skip Bruce Mowat, but they scraped into the semi-finals, ground out that huge win over Switzerland to guarantee them a silver, but they want to upgrade that to gold, and they get underway very shortly in the Olympic men's curling final against Canada.
Thanks very much, Maz. By the way, Zoe Atkins, who qualified first for the half-pipe final, that was due to be run this evening, but it's been put back until tomorrow morning. We'll be back with Maz for news of the men's curling final. I was watching the videos of it on the BBC Sport website this morning. All sorts of controversies and accusations of cheating in the curling over the course of that competition. It does make great watching and listening, of course. As a clearance from Petrovic goes from one 6-yard box all the way to the other penalty area and to Manson away to our left-hand side. There's 11 minutes to go until half-time, and it is still West Ham United 0, Bournemouth 0 here.
Yeah, they don't have that out, Bournemouth. Evan Nilsson, as I was saying, he's up against Mavropanos and Disasi. I don't think he's even wanting them to go long towards him. He's saying, just play out. I think it's been a calmer 20 minutes or so. I don't think Nuno Espirito Santo will be particularly bothered by that very much. Sort of how he wants it to be within a game. I don't think they've kept a clean sheet at home this season. If in an hour's time you offer him a clean sheet, he'd say, I'd snap your hands off and maybe we nick one.
So West Ham have only had 2 Premier League clean sheets all season. That is the fewest of all Premier League teams. And from Bournemouth's point of view, their defensive record away from home has been the issue. At home, they've one of the best defensive records in the Premier League, but they always seem to concede on their travels. 0-0 at the moment. Jimenez's header towards Rayan, Malik Diouf and Souček both jumping with him. Mavropanos clears it away, but too much oomph on that, and it goes way ahead of all his teammates and all the way back to Petrovic away to our right-hand side.
I think Mavropanos will say there wasn't enough oomph on that. He was trying to send that into Stratford Shopping Centre, but he's he played well last week. Mavropanos in a win against Burton Albion.
Truefair has been able to sprint clear of Jared Bowen here, gets to the edge of the penalty area, tries to send in a cross, and it hits the body of Wan-Bissaka, goes out for a throw-in to Bournemouth, and Truefair takes it quickly to Tyler Adams. This is Senesi. Krupi, oh, that's not a good pass from Krupi. Somerville anticipated it and he's been able to intercept, and he's unlucky that he couldn't bring that with him. That's a let-off for Krupi there. He nearly gave away possession and allowed West Ham to attack. As Somerville is challenged forcefully, he ends up bundled off the pitch just where the grass becomes AstroTurf. And I'm not sure if the referee's given a free kick there. I think it is, yeah, free kick right against the touchline.
Yeah, Somerville on the halfway line. You thought he could get away, and I think he just saw James Hill coming out the corner of his eye and maybe just panicked a little bit and said, I'll tell you what, I'm not sure I fancy that, and decided to avert his run slightly. But you're feeling West Ham sitting in, they're saying breakers down, beaters. It's not really happened for either team since the opening 10 minutes.
0-0 here, live boxing tonight on 5 Live. Lee Wood versus Josh Warrington. You can listen here on 5 Live from 10 o'clock, and the build-up bouts ahead of it on Sports Extra from 7. You can listen to those on BBC Sounds as well. Magassa slipped here as a pass was paid to him. Scott intercepts. Truefair for Bournemouth. Finds Tyler Adams to the near touchline. Bournemouth's left, and Adley. Adley gets almost to the edge of the penalty area, rolls it in towards Evan Nielsen. Good strong challenge at him, and West Ham were able to regain possession. Now, can they launch a counter-attack? It's a great ball. Disasi in front of Malik Diouf. An excellent sprinting back from Jimenez, who looked for a moment like Malik Diouf was going to speed away from him, but Jimenez really stepped down on the gas and was able to get back goal side.
Yeah, that was interesting, wasn't it? Malik Diouf saw the space and went, and Jimenez almost said, OK, you go. I'll just match you stride for stride, and went up through the gears. He thought, wow, he's got some gears there. He's got extra pace.
El Hadji Malik Diouf, who's been a very important provider of crosses for Nuno Espirito Santo's team this season. In fact, no defender in the Premier League this campaign has had more assists than El Hadji Malik Diouf. He had a brilliant cross for one of the goals against Burnley 2 weeks ago, but he wasn't able to get into that position there due to very good tracking back from Alex Jimenez. On our little monitors here, we can see Andoni Iraola sitting in the stands, and he's making a few notes here as to what he's seen over these opening 45 minutes. Bournemouth, you look back at their good results this season, they tend to come stronger and stronger as games continue.
Yeah, you think about the energy that you use, the energy that they put in, saying, well, really, are you tiring? But maybe the energy they put in takes it out the other team. I'm not sure after the 20 minutes we've had it. Iraola might have been doing a Sudoku or something, maybe a crossword, because not a lot has happened.
Bournemouth will feel they'll get their chances. Obviously that late equaliser for Manchester United here the last game. West Ham, who've conceded more second half goals this season than any other team in the Premier League. It has been a problem for them, and that's why they would very much like to take the lead before going into that second half period. 0-0 for the moment. Truefair regains possession. 2 players down on the deck, but play continuing around them. This is Scott. And with Castellanos in close company, he takes the safe option and turns and rolls it back to the goalkeeper Petrovic. Bournemouth, who've next 2 games both at home. They host Sunderland next Saturday, and then Brentford, visitors to the south coast, the following Tuesday. Petrovic here, who's come well outside his penalty area, rolls it to Senesi. Senesi goes long and searching, and towards Evan Nielsen. Mavropanos wins the header. Second ball collected by Tyler Adams. Stretching was Adley, but neither he nor Krupi can get a firm touch on that, and Wan-Bissaka should be able to clear away here. Short to Bowen, very tight corner for Bowen that he tries to wriggle out of. Wan-Bissaka back towards Bowen. Well, they're working West Ham, but they're still finding it hard to get into Brentford territory and keep possession with them.
Yeah, it's not quite there, is it? It's not really linking up. The combinations aren't fluid, aren't in motion.
Here is Bowen, 10 yards outside the penalty area, tried to flash it across to Somerville. Jimenez made the interception, and then Rayan with a clever run to get back there to track the run of El Hadji Malik Diouf, because Jimenez had been dragged in field a bit. Had the winger not been alert there, Malik Diouf would have had a lot of space in an attacking position. But that's good maturity from the Brazilian teenager, who did show a bit of a sort of naivety when he gave away a penalty against Everton last time out. He tried to play the ball out of his penalty area, and those mistakes will be inevitable for one so young and new to the Premier League scene. But he has had a goal involvement, between an assist and 2 goals in each of his first 3 Premier League games, and really does look to be something special that Bournemouth have unearthed. Here's Trufair, left-hand side for the visitors, wearing all blue. Doesn't fancy taking on Jared Bowen the second time there, so he gives it infield to Senesi.
Yeah, there's 4 interesting matchups, isn't there? You're talking about Rayan up against Malik Diouf on that far side, and then down below us, Adley and Wan-Bissaka's a really good one, and we've already talked about Somerville and Jared Bowen up against their respective fullbacks. So that's where most of the action is at the minute, but where you're looking, both teams are kind of looking to say, let's break them down.
West Ham unbeaten in the last 7 in all competitions. They have been difficult to break down. Bournemouth giving it a good go here, but still they are yet to create anything like a chance for Evan Nielsen. Here's Alex Scott, gets to within 15 yards, now 10 yards of the area, has a pop, and Hermansen makes the save. I mean, it's a long way out. We've seen them scored for there, but it needs to be a perfect shot to score from that sort of range. Yeah, it
has to be something special, and to be fair to him, he has nothing on. Disasi in front of him, Mavropanos marking Evan Nielsen well, and you're just saying, well, I'll tell you what, there's nothing right now that I can go for, that I can link up with, so took on the shot.
Alex Scott, who scored last month in the win at Wolves, and he also scored in the FA Cup at Newcastle. Here's Somerville, great run this, shot with the left foot, goes over the top. Well, he skipped away from 2 defenders there. He made up sort of 10-15 yards to get into the D, and then he shoots and it goes away off target, but that was bright. That was nearly something for West Ham.
Yeah, raise the tempo, and you're looking at the left winger coming inside, and we're saying, where's the link up? It's a little bit clunky, it's not quite there. Well, now he's coming to centre forward, picked it up, just gone past defenders like they're not there, and then just didn't really have the control on the shot on his weaker foot. You know, so Santos applauding. You just wonder whether that bit of enthusiasm there might encourage Somerville to say, well, just start coming inside, start doing it from a central position, because way out there on the left-hand side, you need 2-3 bodies around you. You're having to do so much from out there.
Yeah, 6 goals in his last 7 games. You'd imagine if you're West Ham, get him on the ball as much as possible. And he did everything right. I mean, until that shot, which did skew, but the build-up, the movement, how he created space for himself was top-notch. Now, mistake at the back. Mateus Fernandes is giving it away to the dangerous Rayan. Skips around Mateus Fernandes, gives it into the penalty area for Evan Nielsen. Tries to return it to Rayan. That pass doesn't work, but it's collected by Krupi on the left-hand side. Now they've worked it well. Triangular passes. Trufair's low delivery cut out by Mugasa. Mugasa quite fortunate, having failed to clear initially. Does clear, but straight to Tyler Adams, and Bournemouth are going to hold on to possession here inside the final third. Roars of approval from the visiting fans here. We're in the closing stages of the first half at London Stadium. 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Possession given away by Jimenez. Cheers from the West Ham fans for that. Then a heavy challenge from Castellanos right in front of the referee, and that's a yellow card for Senesi. One Argentinian fouling another, and a booking for Marcus Senesi.
Well, the home fans are happy. They've been waiting for that, waiting for a yellow card for a Bournemouth player. Not much of a tackle from Senesi, just getting a little bit too tight. Also to stopping the movement going forwards, the attack going forwards. Just a rare slip from the West Ham midfield, and from there you thought there was an opening for Bournemouth, and Evan Nilsson, who's been quiet with a poor layoff, rather than that, saying, well, not really been in the game.
So Senesi joins Thomas Souček in the referee's notebook, one booking apiece in this first half. Just during the little lull of play there, our television monitors zoomed in on Callum Wilson, who's on the bench for West Ham, former Bournemouth players. And Rob, you were telling me an excellent stat about Callum Wilson before kick-off.
Yeah, it's nearly 10% of all his goals are in Bournemouth against West Ham games, and he scored a couple earlier on this season for West Ham, but was obviously prolific for Bournemouth in this reverse fixture.
He's got 9 goals in Premier League games between Bournemouth and West Ham, scoring for either team. Callum Wilson. Might he come on to have an impact here? Andoni Iraola, by the way, has left his seat in the stands, and with 10 seconds of normal time remaining in the first half, he's making his way down into the underbelly of the London Stadium, down into the dressing rooms to give his half-time team talk. Iraola not involved today due to a touchline ban. 1 minute to be added on for stoppages ahead of the break.
He's confident, isn't he? The length it takes to get round this stadium. He's leave about 20 minutes to go.
Yeah. he might get down just for the start of the second half. It's quite a maze around here, though. I'm sure he'll have some sort of VIP route. Tyler Adams makes a very important little flick, little backheel volley inside his own penalty area there as West Ham tried to break in. Adley to Truffert. Bournemouth should clear here. Truffert long towards Evan Nilsson, who's not getting any touches at all, and Disasi rolls it back to the goalkeeper Hermansen. So Bournemouth have got to get away to get their Brazilian number 9 involved a little bit more, and West Ham just need to get into the final third a bit more.
Yeah, and you think the old adage of cancelling each other out, really, you're saying it's 4 wide battles that are going on that are the main focus of the game. Other than that, not a lot to really shout about other than a lively 5-10 minutes at the start of the game.
And there is the whistle for half-time. So West Ham, who nearly scored right at the very start of the game with Axel Disasi. There was also a chance for Tati Castellanos. Bournemouth, who've had a lot of attacking play inside their opponent's half, but they've not offered much in terms of attempts on target. And 2 teams who've been in good form since the turn of the year are cancelling each other out for now. So 0-0, Rob Green, but 45 minutes which both will feel they can go and win it.
Yeah, the game's there. The game's there for them to go and win. He's just feeling, saying West Ham set pieces are the main option, and Somerville coming inside. We saw him Pereira briefly do a little cameo in there. That was sharp for Bournemouth. They've got to find an answer to get Krupi and Evan Nilsson on the ball, linking up in there. Other than that, really cancelling each other out. A lot of respect, would you say, there's out there?
Yes. It started very lively, this game, but I think it's a match mark that needs half-time. They all need to go in a 50 minutes break and just try and reset here. The sort of match that will run out of ideas towards half-time there, but 0-0 for now.
Thank you. Second half on the way. Be fair to say the compelling sport is everywhere but the Premier League this afternoon. The men's Six Nations, Ireland thrashed England at Twickenham earlier, 42 points to 21. And it is absolutely compelling with 7 minutes to go in Cardiff. Claire Thomas.
Wales still leading here by the slenderest of margins, 23 points to 19. But Scotland, who have the ball now in their 22, are visibly growing in stature. The passes are starting to stick, and a Grand Slam finale does indeed beckon. Wales 23, Scotland 19, and the visitors knock it on. So Wales will have the put in, but yes, Chappers, 4 points in it.
Britain's men underway in their gold medal quest in the curling. Maz Faruqi.
Yeah, and they've started very well. Canada with the hammer in the first end, so their skip Brad Jacobs will deliver the final stone of this end shortly. But GB skip Bruce Mowat just knocking out a yellow stone of Canada with his first effort as well. And GB with the 2 stones closest to the middle of the house, the scoring area. So looking very, very positive in the very early stages of this final.
In the Premier League today, Wesley Fofana was sent off for 2 yellow cards in the second half as Chelsea were held 1-1 at home by Burnley. Late equaliser for Scott Parker's side. Aston Villa got a late equaliser at home to Leeds, and it finished Brentford 0, Brighton 2, with James Milner breaking the Premier League appearance record this afternoon. In the Championship, leaders Coventry won 2-0 at West Brom at lunchtime. Middlesbrough in second were held to a goalless draw at home by Oxford. Big win at the bottom for Portsmouth. They won 3-1 at Millwall. Wrexham are into the playoffs after a 5-3 win over Ipswich. The gap at the top of League Two is down to 1 point after Lincoln won at Mansfield and leaders Cardiff were thrashed 5-2 at Plymouth. League Two leaders Bromley were held to a goalless draw at Harrogate. Notts County thrashed Tranmere 5-0 and Cambridge beat Newport 2-0, so both of those sides go ahead of Swindon in the race for promotion. Swindon beaten 2-1 at home by Crewe. Hearts are back to 5 points clear at the top of the Scottish Premiership after they beat Falkirk by 1-0. In the Women's Premiership in the Rugby Union, a couple of results to bring you that came in late from earlier. Trailfinders beat Leicester 40-19. Sale beat Harlequins 15 points to 12. The conclusion to the rugby at the moment is on Sports Extra or on BBC One. The curling is on BBC Two. We'll head back to Cardiff and we'll be back to Italy as well after Lisa McCormick and the news at 6:20.
The Voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
President Trump says he's increasing his newly introduced global tariff from 10 to 15%. The new levy was announced yesterday after the US Supreme Court ruled that previous tariffs have been implemented unlawfully. Boris Johnson's told the BBC the UK should send non-fighting troops to Ukraine now to pressure Russia into ending the war. The government says it's proud of its leadership on Ukraine and it plans to boost defence spending. North Wales police say the bodies of two men aged 19 and 20 have been recovered after they went missing in Snowdonia on Wednesday. Mountain rescue teams discovered the pair on Orvidva, also known as Snowdon, on Thursday after a search in difficult wintry conditions. And a group of MPs is considering an inquiry into the work of the UK's trade envoys following the arrest of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. Police are investigating allegations he shared confidential documents with the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The former prince has previously denied any wrongdoing. The Business and Trade Committee says it'll wait until the police investigation is finished.
Good morning, everyone. It is 5 Live Breakfast.
Kick off your morning with the biggest stories and the headlines everyone's talking about.
Every time that anybody sustains a forceful blow to the head, it can cause substantial and irreversible brain injury.
This is 5 Live Breakfast.
And we're on the ground at the world's biggest sporting events.
He's seconds away from a gold medal for Great Britain, and he has done it with a flourish.
Wake up with 5 Live Breakfast every morning from 6.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
This is 5 Live Sports with Mark Chapman.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
And with 4 minutes to go, Scotland lead. Claire.
Scotland are leading in Cardiff for the first time all afternoon by 26 points to 23 with 4 minutes remaining. They trailed by 15 at one stage but hauled themselves huffing and puffing and knowing that they cannot lose today. Back in front via a George Turner score converted by vice-captain Finn Russell. It is pure theatre at the Principality. Wales 23, Scotland 26.
We're going to take the closing minutes of commentary with Sarah Orchard, but first of all back to Maz and the curling.
Canada with the first point of this Olympic men's curling final in the first end. Their skip Brad Jacobs rolling their final yellow stone into the centre of the house, the scoring area, and they take a single point and a slender advantage into end 2, where Great Britain will have the hammer.
3.5 minutes to go. Wales inside Scotland's territory. They trail for the first time this afternoon, 26 points to 23 in the Principality Stadium. Here's Sarah Orchard.
An enormous penalty for Scotland at the scrum. They lead by 3 points on 77 minutes. Wales 23, Scotland 26. But the most precious of penalties, former Scotland captain Andy Nicol.
It was, and it was Pierre Schoeman, a loose head, came off the bench early in the first half. Tactical substitution, and he's just earned his money there in the 77th minute, because that was a huge scrum and it was all on his side, and Scotland now can clear into the Welsh half and have possession of the line out. This is pressure rugby now. Scotland have got ahead of the game with 5 minutes to go. Been a mad mistake from the kick-off. Now they need to control this game and see it out.
Well, they're doing a lovely slow walk up to the line out, and just eking out every second they can, can't they?
This Welsh crowd have wanted this win for 74 minutes. It has been wrestled back from them by Scotland, who have trailed the entire fixture. At one point, Wales led by 15 points, but Scotland have scrapped. Gregor Townsend made big changes, and now the ball is trundling down the left-hand wing inside of Welsh territory. Can Wales bundle this into touch is the question. It is still Scottish ball, and they're winding down the clock so well. 78 minutes played, Wales 23, Scotland 26. Remember, Wales haven't won a game in the Six Nations now for 13 games. There's penalty advantage to Scotland as well. That could be the game, that could be the moment. They need to eke out every moment, every second, every blade of grass to hold on. After they played rugby from the gods against England in that incredible Calcutta Cup win, it seemed to have all gone against them as soon as they stepped back inside this stadium. But if they can just get this passage of play inside a minute, they'll have the game. But that penalty has been called on 78:56, so whatever they decide to do, there will be a restart.
And that's it. They actually didn't want, they wanted that ball to come out so they could just keep playing under penalty advantage, which means they've got a minute. Finn Russell could choose to take the kick at goal here, and it'll take it pretty much over the line. So the kick to goal. So Sione's speaking to Matt Carley, the referee, the Scotland captain. So they're going to go for goal and allow it to run all the way down to 10 seconds. But you're right, Sarah. It was at 78 minutes. Still when it first won. So now Scotland have got a chance. Finn will take his time. We're at 79-11 in the stadium. He's going to take the full minute, and this is the last play of the game.
Okay, so this is a big moment.
Then it must be a genuine attempt to kick at goal.
There has to be a genuine attempt to kick at goal, and they stopped the clock on 79-11, although play had stopped before it crept over 79. So the clock is now counting down inside the Principality Stadium. Finn Russell just has to take his time. This is so cruel, Philippa Tuttiett. So cruel.
Yeah, and there's a big sign flashing saying respect the kicker, and I hate that sign right now, because it's exactly what we would do if we were in your position, but it is cruel. It's just drawing out the pain.
Finn Russell then will take this kick, and that will be the match. The hope, the expectation, the want, the drive of this Welsh crowd, this whole Welsh nation is about to be dashed unless this rebounds off an upright and play will continue. The Scottish team have to chase. Here comes the kick from Russell. It needs to go through.
No.
And no. But there will be no restart. It is a Scottish win. They've scrapped their way to victory here inside the Principality, and all the hope, everything that Wales wanted is dashed in the final 5 minutes. It's a Scottish win at the Principality, but only just. The final score, Wales 23, Scotland 26.
Sarah, Andy, Philippa, thank you. They squeaked home, did Scotland. All the reaction throughout the evening here on 5 Live and on the BBC Sport website and on the Rugby Union Weekly Pod, which you can get daily at the moment during the men's Six Nations. There's also going to be a rugby special, I would imagine, across the BBC and on iPlayer as well, after another dramatic weekend. France play Italy tomorrow. Live sport keeps coming. We've got the second half of West Ham against Bournemouth. It's goalless there. We'll then keep you up to date with Manchester City against Newcastle during 6:06. And then at 10 this evening, live commentary of Lee Wood against Josh Warrington. Steve Bunce is in Nottingham, ready for this. A rematch we've waited a while for, Steve.
Absolutely, 2.5 years, chappers. You know, it's that type of perfect rematch. The first fight was both bad-tempered, brilliant, shocking at the end, and a controversial finish in the 7th round. Josh Warrington insisted he could continue. Lee Wood didn't believe he could, and the referee sided with Lee Wood. That was then. This is now. Absolute capacity, nearly 10,000 inside the Motor Point in Nottingham, which is Lee Wood's hometown. I'm expecting a replay, not sure who wins, but a similar type of fight.
Is it that close?
Oh, it's a 50-50 fight. All of the stats, one's 37, one's 35. One's had 32 fights, one's had 37 fights. They're mix and match. You know what? They can only fight each other from this point on, Chappers. I'm not even ruling out a trilogy. In fact, I'm hoping for a trilogy. I want to try and deliver you a trilogy tonight if I can.
You always deliver for me.
Thank you, Chappers.
You've also, very quickly, just away from this fight, you've been talking to Eddie Hearn today because Conor Benn has left him and joined a rival.
I think it's one of the biggest stories I've covered in 35, 36 years in boxing. Conor Benn, a man who was absolutely devoted to Eddie Hearn, has joined not just a rival, but a bitter rival. This story is going to rumble on. We're going to feature it heavily on the pod, which will be coming out tomorrow morning. There you go. There's a plug for the pod as well.
Why has he done it then, without giving away everything that's going to be on the pod?
You know what? There's no other reason than money. But here's the key. He refused to take a phone call from Eddie Hearn, a man who stuck by him during those 2 drug cases, who fought by his side, who surrendered, who gave him a couple of $100,000 so he could live whilst he couldn't fight because he wasn't allowed to fight because of the drug ban. It's a bitter story. It's feudal, and you can hear it in Eddie Hearn's voice. You have a listen on your way home tonight, Chappers. It's quite sad.
Thank you, Steve. So Steve Bunton, the team in Nottingham, Lee Wood and Josh Warrington. You'll be able to listen to that from around 10 o'clock on 5 Live. If you want the boxing throughout the evening, then it's on Sports Extra from 7 o'clock. Well, you were right, Andy Nicol, weren't you? Right at the start of the day when we talked, which seems like a long time ago. You said your confidence was draining the closer you got to kick-off.
And it did throughout that first half when Scotland actually played some really great rugby, but it just the accuracy wasn't there that they had last week. And then Wales defended brilliantly at times, took their chances. So, you know, it was like we'd seen this movie before and I knew the ending. And it was just, and that's why I give Scotland great credit to come back and win this game. Win a game that they haven't in the past. And they'll look back and they'll be pleased with the outcome. They'll be very disappointed with a lot of the minutiae, but they've won a game of rugby away from home.
Did it change on Finn Russell's quick thinking with that kick-off?
Well, yeah, without doubt. I mean, that's it. It exploited Wales going to sleep a wee bit, and just, I mean, honestly, Chappers, I feel for Steve Tandy because they put so much into that game, and the players did as well. And a lapse of concentration for a moment has probably lost them that game. When you think about it, a 3-point game. So, yeah, I mean, just you don't see that very often, Chappers. I've watched a lot of rugby. You very rarely see that.
All on the bounce of a ball, isn't it?
Yeah.
All on the bounce of a ball. Andy, thank you very much. Wales beaten at home by Scotland. England beaten at home by Ireland. You've got France against Italy tomorrow. 6:06 on the way in a little while with Aaron Paul and Chris Sutton. 08085 909 693. And during that, you'll get plenty of updates from the Etihad. Manchester City at home to Newcastle as they look to cut Arsenal's lead at the top of the table down to just 2 points. Wayne Rooney and Micah Richards, your pundits for Match of the Day, 10:25 on BBC One, and we're ready to go with the second half at West Ham. Goalless at home to Bournemouth. Here are Rob and Connor.
Thanks very much, Mark. About to get back underway. No changes in personnel over half-time. West Ham 0, Bournemouth 0. Bournemouth, who had just 3 touches of the ball in the West Ham penalty area in the first half, and West Ham, who had 9 shots, that's their most in the first half of a Premier League home game, not just this season but in well over a year, but they couldn't make any of them count. So let's see who can start this second half the better. We'll give you a full rundown of the teams in just a moment, but Bournemouth in possession with Senesi, who picked up a yellow card in the first half, plays it direct into the penalty area that West Ham are defending, but Disasi wins the header. And now Mateus Fernandes flicks it on to Crescencio Somerville, who probably was the brightest spark of the home side's players in the first half. He gives it back to Mateus Fernandes, and now he looks to spread it over to the right-hand side. But that ball had to travel such a long distance that Truffert was able to nip in and intercept, and the ball goes out of play for a throw-in to West Ham. So, what have been your thoughts over half-time on this one, Rob Green?
Yeah, just speaking to our colleagues covering Bournemouth for the local radio with BBC, and saying Bournemouth will open up in the second half. They'll go for it in the second half, and you're kind of hoping that one team does. There's a lot of sort of standing and looking at each other and waiting for a slip, waiting for a mistake. Bournemouth didn't really have a link-up play into Evan Nielsen. They've already hit 2 long balls forward at the minute, and you just feel they've been gobbled up by the West Ham defence. So
you're kind of thinking, well, someone's got to make some differences in there. Getting Somerville higher up the pitch for West Ham in dangerous areas was one key area for them. For Bournemouth, finding a way for Adley and for Ryan to get in closer to Krupi, just for them to bounce the ball off each other will be better for the game itself.
Yeah, West Ham haven't been involved in a Premier League 0-0 draw this season. Goals usually do come, particularly in the second half of their games. Throw in for Bournemouth, which Krupi is going to take. He's slight, but he's got a very long throw at him. Deep into the penalty area, punched away. The right fist of Mads Johansson gets good distance on it as well, well outside the penalty area. Tyler Adams wins a header. Now Scott is going to jump. And neither team getting a firm grasp of possession here. Somerville gets it back down on the deck. And then that looked like a push in the back from Alex Scott, but the referee says play on. Somerville, lovely little footwork manoeuvre there to hold on to possession. Mateus Fernandes breaking from the centre circle. Bowen's in space on the right-hand side. It reaches him via Wan-Bissaka. Now, can Jared Bowen produce something here? Up against Truffert, level with the edge of the penalty area. Makes the burst towards the byline, plays it off Adrian Truffert, and West Ham get their first corner of the second half.
Or for West Ham, you get set pieces. That's the other way into this game, into goals, and that seemed to be their most likely outcome. And it was Castellanos running across the near post that caused the biggest problems for West Ham. And I think they've just moved Adley just a fraction, just to cover that near post area.
Here comes the delivery, left-footed, Bowen in swinger, Petrovic under pressure, punches right to the goal line, and he's appealing that he was being fouled there, and the referee agrees. And it did look like there was a push on the goalkeeper there, Petrovic, but he, to his credit, he stood his ground. He was able to get the ball away. Mavropanos is lying on the deck, right in front of the goalmouth area there, and there seems to be some concern for him. Players on both sides are signalling towards the bench for him to come and get some treatment here. He just seemed to clumsily fall against the keeper after the ball had already been cleared. So I think we're going to have a little bit of a break in play here, which is a good opportunity to go back to the Winter Olympics, the men's curling final, and Maz Faruqi.
Great timing, Connor, because the first points for Great Britain in this Olympic men's curling final are on the board. They finish N2 with 2 of their red stones in the house, no yellow of Canada in there. So they pick up 2 points in N2, GB, and they lead this final for the first time 2-1.
And as we've still got a break in play here, the women's half-pipe final, Zoe Atkins going to have to wait a little bit longer for her big moment.
Yeah, Zoe Atkins was due to go in that half-pipe final actually about now, but heavy snow, bad conditions mean that's been postponed till tomorrow morning. She is a big medal hope for GB. She qualified, progressed to this final, top of the standings with the best score from qualifying, but we're going to have to wait a little bit longer to see if she can add to GB's medal tally.
Brilliant, thanks very much, Maz. We'll be back to Maz with regular updates on that men's curling final, GB against Canada. We're still waiting for Mavropanos to get back to his feet here. He's sitting up inside the centre circle, but there's obviously a bit of concern about him, and some of the West Ham substitutes have begun warming up just in case they are required.
Yeah, 3 Bournemouth players signalled over to the bench for the physio to come on, which is a bad sign when your opponents are waving for you to come on. So it looks like Mavropanos is in considerable pain. Tadibo, it's a question mark whether Tadibo would start after his suspension. He's improved performances, and then that madness of at the end of the game against Chelsea, his actions only he can explain. Of course, a 3-game ban. Well, he's back on the bench, so it's a touch and go as to who was going to start this game, but they're covered in that area.
Right, Mavropanos walking back. He's trying a little jog on the spot here. Just looks groggy, looks uncertain. Not quite sure what part of himself he damaged there, but anyway, he's back at a jog now. I think he will be able to come back on. For the moment, West Ham playing with 10 men, as is the protocol. Once you've had a player receiving treatment, you've got to remain off the field for another 30 seconds. But Mavropanos looks like he's going to be okay to come on. Bournemouth have possession. Haven't had a chance in the second half to give you a full rundown of the teams. West Ham with Mads Johansson in goal. The back 4 is Wan-Bissaka, Mavropanos, Disasi and Malik Diouf. In the middle of the midfield, Fernandes and Megassa. Then it's Bowen, Souček and Somerville in behind the centre-forward Tati Castellanos. For Bournemouth, Petrovic the goalkeeper. Back 4, Jimenez, Hill, Senesi and Truffert. In midfield, it's Scott and Adams. Then it's Ryan on the right, Adley on the left. Eli Junior Krupi in behind Evan Nielsen. 0-0. 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Busy day tomorrow in the Premier League. It will be across it all here on 5 Live, starting with Nottingham Forest against Liverpool at 2 o'clock. And we'll bring you the North London derby, Spurs against Arsenal at 4:30. Jimenez has possession here. Mavropanos is back on the pitch. West Ham back to 11. Rayan, nice little cut in off the wing on the right-hand side. Supported by Jimenez. Sends in a cross which hits Malik Diouf, and that's going to be Bournemouth's first corner of this second period. 52 minutes on the clock. West Ham 0, Bournemouth 0.
Yeah, in fact, attacking their fans down towards our right. A little bit of atmosphere being created, but just feel again, Evan Nielsen was in the middle waiting for some sort of link-up, but no one within 20 yards. So eventually they cycle it out to the right-hand side, and Jimenez managing to get that corner. Again, it's all in front of West Ham.
Nervous moment for West Ham fans because they concede a lot of these, but that's a dreadful corner. Adley has just given it straight low along the ground to Crescencio Somerville. He just must not have seen him. Just passed it to Somerville, who's then fouled as he tries to come over the halfway line, fouled by Tyler Adams. Free kick to West Ham. Somerville slow to get back up.
That was incredible, really. Within 30 yards, there was one West Ham player and two Bournemouth players, and he managed to pick him out. He didn't have to move. And then they allow him to travel halfway up the pitch, and then Adams dutifully treads on his heel, treads on his Achilles, and gives away a free kick. It was, really, really strange piece of football.
We think that there's still concern from Mavropanos, and Todibo is being prepared here. He may be coming on shortly for West Ham. For the moment, Mavropanos is making his way forward to add some height to this West Ham attack for the free kick. 0-0 on 5 Live. Mateus Fernandes raises his left arm as a signal, plays it towards the edge of the box. Mavropanos jumps in the air, wins the header. Mugassi with the shot, but charged down by a defender right in front of him. It falls for Malik Diouf. His left-footed cross is too close to the goalkeeper, and well held by Petrovic. Tricky one, it was just dipping towards his feet as it came to him, but he held onto it firmly.
Yeah, just hoping that no one got across the near post, but they'd all drifted to the far post from the initial ball in. And you're wondering, just really from that shot, it wasn't much of a shot, but the attack is raising the West Ham fans a bit.
Here comes Alex Scott. He's made an incredible dribble here. He started inside his own half. He gets almost to the byline. He ran along the touchline there with two defenders around him, and it was, I think the defenders were shocked that he kept going there. They think, no way you're going to keep going here when we're in such close proximity, but he did, and he manages to get a throw in right down by the corner flag on the left-hand side, and James Hill, who's able to sling him in, is going to go over to take this throw in. And Hermansen knows exactly what's coming here. This is going to be right down his throat.
He's got Evan Nielsen and Senesi right on him. Souček for company to really as a bodyguard in there.
9 minutes played in the second half, no goals. The throw in from Hill, the header from Wan-Bissaka wasn't his best effort from Hill, didn't get the distance he would have required. This is Jimenez inside the centre circle. Good ball forward towards Evan Nielsen, controls it 5 yards outside the box, gives it to Rayan on the right-hand side. Rayan tries to take on Malik Diouf, and it clips the knee of the defender, and the ball goes out of play for a throw into Bournemouth, down by the corner flag that they attack on the right-hand side. A reminder, match of the day tonight, 10:25 on BBC One. Earlier on today, Aston Villa needed a late equaliser to salvage a home draw against Leeds. Brighton won for the first time in 7 games, winning away at Brentford. And Chelsea, who finished with 10 men after Fofana was sent off, conceded a late equaliser against Burnley, second from bottom. Burnley still 8 points from safety, but they did get a point today. Throw in from Hill into the 6-yard box. Thomas Souček, who's so good in the air, wins the header. Scott tries to keep it alive here for Bournemouth, and Somerville is surely going to shepherd. Oh, he doesn't shepherd it out. He cleverly backheels it to Malik Diouf, and now Malik Diouf's got a bit of shepherding to do under pressure from Scott. But the ball had gone out of play, and that will be a goal kick to West Ham away to our right-hand side, still 0-0.
It's a shame about Hill with his long throws. They really need him in the middle to head them as well, because such is the height difference between the West Ham back line and Souček in there. They've not really needs an extra tall player in there.
Yeah, they need 2 Hills. So possession for West Ham and a goal kick from Ansu Manson. I thought it was an interesting move by Nuno Espirito Santo, a goalkeeper himself in his playing days, to make that change, because Areola actually won the what's the award called for January? It's not player of the month, it's the sort of best save of the month for January. Yeah. But he's been sort of hooked out, and Hermansen's come in, and whether he's made great saves or not, I don't know, but the results have been good since he came in.
Yeah, clean sheet straight away to Burnley. It was a surprise, I think, for everyone, whether they saw something. There was talk of him actually being moved out on loan in the transfer, at the end of the transfer window, to get some games, but
Yeah, really strange, but since he's come in, it's been pleasingly quiet for him.
Yes, but it's always good for a goalkeeper. This is Somerville, Malik Diouf, left-hand side for West Ham, attacking from right to left as we look down. Picks out Tati Castellanos in the penalty area, tried to lay it back to Mugasa. It was a little soft, but West Ham have done well to keep it alive. Wan-Bissaka's cross, intended for Bowen, is cut out by Senesi. That was dangerous from West Ham. And they're trying to rouse a bit more attacking intent here. Wan-Bissaka in front of Souček, but Tyler Adams had spotted that danger and he was already running into that space, and Bournemouth's captain is able to clear the ball away. West Ham take the throw in quickly, trying to inject a little bit of pace here, and they need it, West Ham. Remember, they're still in the relegation zone. They need this win today badly.
Yeah, they're sensing the moment. West Ham fans trying to raise the team, and the problem is when Souček gets out there, he's doing the right thing, linking up out wide. It's just the pace comes off the attack, really.
Evan Nielsen, centre circle for Bournemouth, gives it to Rayan on the right wing, number 37 on his back, and considered ball in field. He's playing a little bit more conservatively today, Rayan, than the previous times I've seen him in action, but still time for him to pop up with a big moment, as Adley has possession on the left-hand side for Bournemouth, and behind him Truffert gives it back to Adley, level with the edge of the area, poor ball, tried to pick out Krupi, but it was telegraphed and easily intercepted by Mateus Fernandes. Jared Bowen tries to run it out of trouble, and the ball goes out, and that's a throw into West Ham, still midway inside their own territory, right-hand side of the field as they come forward.
Now, they had two opportunities to cross it there and turned it down, and then tried a little link-up ball which wasn't on, and it was poorly executed, as you said, Connor, but you're just wondering whether the crosses now, they're saying, well, there's no point, we've learnt from the first half, just don't bother, they've been gobbled up, they've been eaten up.
Through ball by Adley, but Krupi was always going to be offside. He doesn't get there anyway. Hermansen came sprinting out of the box and was able to clear it away. Now this is Malik Diouf on the left-hand side. His clearance has gone straight to Jimenez, who's still getting the boo boy treatment. Jimenez tries to dribble past Somerville. Rayan stretching against Mugasa, the ball goes out of play, and it's a throw-in to West Ham. Mugasa showing a bit of grit and determination there. And we're just seeing on our monitors a close-up of the options available on the bench to Nuno Espirito Santo. He's got Callum Wilson, of course, we mentioned, who has scored many goals in this fixture in the past, and he's also got Adama Traore, a player that he knows well from when they were at Wolves together. Traore, who has joined from Fulham in January.
Well, if I was Callum Wilson now, I'd be limbering up, stretching right in front of the manager, saying, come on, you've only given me half an hour, I can score, I know I can score, get me on the pitch.
Castellanos gives possession away. Might he be the one who is hooked to introduce Callum Wilson? You can't imagine they would take off Somerville the form that he's been in. This is Mugasa, just about gets it back to Mavropanos. And Mavropanos was stretching to get there, so all he can do is launch it out of play, and that's a goal kick for Bournemouth away to our left-hand side. Right, we're almost two-thirds of the way through this game. Half an hour plus the stoppages to go, and those three valuable Premier League points still tantalisingly just dangling in front of both of these teams.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Timing of games and timing of teams. And
hang on, here is Adley trying to get in on the back of Wan-Bissaka, who slides well and not only makes the tackle there, but was able to scoop the ball to Bowen and run on to receive the 1-2. And now Thomas Souček has possession on the right-hand side for West Ham. And there's a few groans from West Ham fans who wanted him to keep that forward movement going there. It was a bit slow. Here's Mugasa into the penalty area, and Senesi gets back to put it out for a corner. Better from West Ham, and the crowd are responding. 0-0 here.
Brilliant from Wan-Bissaka, initially defensively, and then to have the quality of the ball and the run. Mugasa picking him out, needs a better touch from him. He's with the wrong part of his foot, almost behind him as he was taking it on the volley, Mugasa. But when they get going, when they have that bit of impetus, the West Ham fans are with them, they're with them, and they want them to just show that little bit of life that's needed, this spark in this game.
Here's the corner to be taken by Jared Bowen. In swinger, header by Senesi. Does well to clear it outside the box. Somerville will collect. Left wing for West Ham. West Ham playing from right to left as we looked at. Somerville tricking, teasing. Gets around Rayan, but then is stopped by Jimenez. And Jimenez's clearance is to Krupi, who's given it away again. This is dangerous. Mateus Fernandes shoots. And it's wide of the target. And Krupi's a lucky boy.
Well, it's the most likely way, a mistake, and it was a mistake from Krupi. Poor layoff, just stretching, just to try and give it to his teammate in front of him, and there's no weight on the pass, and Fernandes picks up on that and drives forward, but the shot was never on target. But the first bit of the second half...
Hang on, another mistake at the back. And a mistake by James Hill, which Castellanos tried to play a ball through the legs of the defender into Crescencio Somerville, and it doesn't work, so Bournemouth got away with that error. If it stays like this, Bournemouth will be 8th in the table, 2 points behind Brentford, 4 points behind Liverpool, who play tomorrow. Free kick to West Ham, 10 yards inside Bournemouth territory. Feels like this is a purple patch for the home team. Can they take advantage of this dominance? Can they get the opening goal of the game?
Yeah, capitalising on mistakes is the big thing, and you just feel if they can force Bournemouth into playing long balls, then they're going to win the knockdowns, they're going to win the second balls, and that's where the joy's going to come from. I'm just not sure how they're going to score.
Atmosphere is positive inside the stadium, which we don't say very often at West Ham's home ground. Mateus Fernandes towards the far side, flicked in, headed by Mavropanos. Disasi tried to attack it, Somerville tried to control. Again, it's congested, there's too many bodies. They couldn't get it down as Rayan tries to break away. Now here he goes, pushing it away from Tati Castellanos. Now he takes on Malik Diouf. Rayan into a shooting position. Oh, it's within a whisker. What a goal that would have been. He picked it up inside his own half, and in the blink of an eye he gets to the edge of the penalty area, and the shot is fractionally off target. This boy is special.
Wow, off the post, just wide. It was something you're looking and saying there's no way he can gather that far, have the ball from there and go drive as far as he did. He's got 4 men around him, just flicks the outside of the post.
Right, more on that in just a moment. Back to the Winter Olympics, the men's curling final. Maz Faruqi.
Brad Jacobs, the Canadian skip, just delivered the final stone of the third end. Canada with the opportunity to try and move level with Great Britain in this third end, and they have done so. So they were trailing 2-1, but they're back in this match, Canada. But GB, of course, will take the hammer, so that final stone advantage into N4. This one very finely poised, but Canada leading 3-2 at the moment.
Thank you, Maz. 0-0 here between West Ham and Bournemouth. Both teams showing a bit of attacking intent, though, in recent minutes. What I thought was fascinating about Rayan there is he didn't look like he was sprinting. You know, Castellanos was absolutely doing his best Usain Bolt competition, and Rayan was just jogging along.
Yeah,
the
power of him. And, you know where he wanted to go, and it's easy from up here to say, well, just stop him on his left. How? I'm not quite sure.
That's a good turn. Krupi gives it to Evan Nielsen. Ooh, slightly awkward challenge by Mugasa, but he gets away with it. Evan Nielsen wanted a free kick there. I think Mugasa might have been a little bit fortunate. Referee Sam Barrett says play on. And West Ham have got possession. David Brooks is about to be introduced as a substitute for the visitors. Ball over the top for West Ham. Castellanos running onto it, stretched his hamstring to its very maximum, but he couldn't get a touch, and the ball goes out of play, and that is going to be a goal kick for Bournemouth away to our left-hand side. So the visitors are going to make a double change. Brooks and Christie about to come on. So we've had Wales against Scotland in the Six Nations today, and now a Welshman and a Scot coming on as substitutes for Bournemouth. And it looks like it'll be Adley and it'll be Tyler Adams who make way. So Christie will drop into the midfield where Adams was playing, and David Brooks will take Amin Adley's place on the wing, you'd imagine.
Yep, and you're looking at Adams coming back to fitness, wondering how long he'd last. Well, the answer's 65 minutes, and Adley's had moments, maybe just 1 or 2 touches in there, but really a quiet game for him. Him and Krupi, feeling have been the 2 people that you, and Evan Nielsen, of course, we barely mentioned, but saying maybe should have done a bit more, maybe should have seen a bit more from them.
Ryan Christie celebrates his birthday tomorrow, turns 31. He's into the midfield alongside Alex Scott, and Bournemouth are going to need a lot of energy in that central midfield area for these closing 25 minutes now, as Rayan jumps with Malik Diouf. Fullback does well, plays it down the left channel. Castellanos sprinting after it, and over comes Hill, and I'll tell you, that was a forceful challenge, but he did get the ball. Any misjudgment there, that could have been a red card, because he was thundering it.
He enjoyed that. He enjoyed that, didn't he? He knew he was going to win it as well.
Petrovic picks up, we've just seen a replay there. He batters him, but it's the classic hard but fair tackle. This is an interception. Wan-Bissaka winning the ball for West Ham, and he just skips away from Brooks. Rolls a short pass to Mateus Fernandes, and West Ham come over the halfway line back into Wan-Bissaka, who's having a good second half. Attempted flick by Souček draws groans because it doesn't come off, but Bowen recaptures possession just outside the penalty area. Jared Bowen into the box, but Truefair got back well. Good recovery from Truefair, and Senesi's able to keep the ball in play by the touchline far side, and he plays it to Krupi. Bournemouth still inside their own final third. They're going to lose it here. Wan-Bissaka getting it back, but he can't pick out a teammate. Bournemouth clear it away. This time they just launch it. Comes down from Mavropanos on the halfway line. West Ham United 0, Bournemouth 0. 67 minutes on the big stadium clock. Christie's first touch since coming on. On to Krupi. Space for Brooks on the left-hand side. It's 4-on-4 at the moment. Brooks to the edge of the penalty area. Few step over, shoots, and it's deflected. And that goes out for a corner. Corner to Bournemouth on the left-hand side.
A rare opening for Bournemouth, where they had numbers forward and they're against the West Ham back line that was outnumbered, and just feeling Brooks just coming on the pitch. Maybe he's not up to speed, but he knew he was up against Mavropanos, and you think you just run him, just go at him, make him commit, just get him inside the box, take another touch and go past him. But Mavropanos waited and waited and waited and made the block.
West Ham, who arguably let a win slip through their fingers in stoppage time against Manchester United in the last home game here, and they will be cautious, so they'll be worried about letting something slip here. 0-0. Corner in swinging from Scott is headed back out, and that'll be take two. Another corner to Bournemouth again, left-hand side as they come forward. We're now midway through the second half. So, since the changes, Christian Scott in the midfield, Brooks, Krupi, Rayan in support of Evan Nielsen for Bournemouth. Senesi is claiming that his shirt was pulled as the corner came in. Now, we've seen a replay of it. I'm sure VAR would have looked at that. But they're satisfied it was not persistent enough to merit anything else. So the corner is taken second time. Comes into the air to Brooks, who tries to shoot in low. But again, too many bodies in the way. Krupi tries to turn. Senesi does flick in a high one. Souček wins a really important header. West Ham haven't got it away yet. Senesi again, but he can't get any power on the shot. And Hermansen tries to launch a counter-attack here. Big long throw towards Somerville, but Jimenez was back covering, and Bournemouth have possession. And Brooks, who's been bright since coming on, takes on Malik Chouf down the right wing for Bournemouth here. David Brooks all the way to the byline. Now can he deliver the cross? Swings it in too close to the keeper. Well held onto by Mads Hermansen. Still 0-0.
Just really feeling the game's sort of coming to life, and it's just desperate for a team with a bit of quality. Brooks, you thought he had it there, but the cross wasn't there, but also the players weren't there. There's nothing really in the middle again. Evan Nielsen on his own against the centre halves.
6:06 coming up with Aaron Paul and Chris Sutton this evening once this game is over. We mentioned Callum Wilson's strong goal-scoring record in this fixture, and it has always felt only a matter of time before he comes on. He's about to. Bowen crosses on the right-hand side. Attempted bicycle kick from Tati Castellanos, and I'll tell you what, it's not a million miles away. He kept it low, but wide of the target. That was acrobatic. That was almost perfect.
And he went for the spectacular. He did brilliantly to execute the overhead kick. It's not a million miles away, as you say, but it was off his shin. He didn't really have control over it, but I don't think it was a shot to nothing, wasn't it? Because he was behind him, and he's just gone stretching his hamstring.
That
from
was
that.
So ambitious, so acrobatic that he's like some of the Winter Olympics here. He's given it everything, and he's actually hurt himself in doing so. So Castellanos, who was probably about to be replaced, you'd imagine he'd be the one who'd make way for Callum Wilson. Slowly gets back up to his feet, but West Ham are ready to make that change to bring on Wilson any moment now.
I'll be interested to see who it is, whether they just go straight to a 4-4-2. Maybe Magassa coming off as a midfielder and just going with a centre forward, and Souček dropping in.
Hang on, a mistake with the clearance, and it falls to Jared Bowen, and Bowen into the penalty area, takes on Senesi, plays it in low. Souček trying to flick it goal bound, and a very important defensive clearance by Hill. The follow-up by Magassa's dreadful, and he knows it's dreadful, and he ballooned it over the crossbar. What a chance for West Ham. Songutu Magassa, who's only scored one goal for West Ham so far. It was the late equaliser at Old Trafford in December. but he sent that one spiralling into the crowd, and it remains West Ham 0, Bournemouth 0 here.
Well, that's something more like we saw at Twickenham earlier on today, that finish, but Senesi's finish, ball out, was nothing short of extraordinary. He managed to pick Jared Bowen out 40 yards away from him, just a horrible mishit. Callum Wilson is on, and it is Souček going off, and you feel that's more just straight as a straight 4-4-2 now for West Ham.
Yes, well anticipated, Rob. So the former Bournemouth man, Callum Wilson, 67 goals in 187 appearances for today's opponents. Bournemouth, who did very good business with Callum Wilson. They signed him for 2 million, they sold him for 20 million, but they're now hoping he doesn't come back to haunt him, his old teammates, his old colleagues today. They don't have any teammates, mind you, but since he last left. Here is Mateus Fernandes, good ball into the penalty area, Somerville almost onto it, and Jimenez by the skin of his teeth just got there first.
Brilliant defending, really well read and well judged as well. Knew that Somerville had once had put his foot across him, plant it and just go down, just wait for the contact, and he didn't commit it.
Offside flag is raised as Evan Nielsen runs out after a ball on the left wing, and that is an offside and a free kick to West Ham. So Callum Wilson, who came on, who scored both of West Ham's goals against Bournemouth when these sides met in November. That was at the Vitality, a 2-2 draw. The last 5 Premier League meetings have all finished level, and here in the now driving rain in East London, it is level again between West Ham and Bournemouth, and there are 17 minutes of normal time remaining.
You just feel that the crowd have stayed with them, West Ham. If this game was played maybe a couple of months ago, there'd have been moans and groans from the start, there'd have been unhappiness within the camp, but just those few wins, that bit of life that's given West Ham the hope that they have, has allowed the fans to stick with them.
Yeah, agreed. And you know, we mentioned the 3 valuable points. Teams that stay up, they find a way to win a game like this. Brilliant, Krupi leaves it for Rayan in the penalty area, and he took too long to get the shot, and Malik Diouf bravely throwing his body on the ground to make the block. Rayan, who tried to open up his body to get the position that he wanted, the body position, but that little adjustment was a hesitation, and Malik Diouf was in to shut him down.
Yeah, it wasn't the greatest, was it, from him? The touch wasn't great, and the stutter just before the strike bought Diouf that time. But you're looking again, that's the second time in recent minutes that West Ham have been outnumbered at the back. You think since that change, Bowen's just gone a little bit higher. It's almost as a 3 up front, and I'm not sure the rest of the team have realised. And they're sort of very, very open in a very odd shape.
0-0, a corner to Bournemouth, and a few West Ham fans just twitching in their seats. They've seen this movie many times. It often has a bad ending for them. Corner comes in swinger, goalkeeper punches it away. Hermansen was dominant there, that was good. Trufer swivels and tries to return back in a shot, that was clever, but too many bodies in the way again, and this time the ball does bounce up kindly for Hermansen, who's able to gather, and then the roar from the home crowd, who want it down the other end. They don't want any slow considered approach here, they want their team to go for it. Mugasa on the halfway line, up to Somerville, the goal machine lately. Can he come up with something special? Somerville is furious with his teammates that nobody made a run in the left channel there, and he was visibly hopping mad that he didn't have anyone outside him. Malik Diouf is now in that position. Here comes the cross, low in, Callum Wilson, shot brilliantly saved by Petrovic. I think that's a first touch for Wilson, he nearly scored.
Brilliant touch from Wilson, brilliant save. As he way beyond the near post, meeting it just after the bounce, and knew, I've just got to deflect this on target. And Petrovic, he was waiting for the cross deep and just about managed to readjust, because it's such a sharp movement.
He's been doing this all his career, Callum Wilson, arriving in the 6-yard box, tight angle, trying to flick it on as another opportunity comes his way, but not as graceful a touch that time, further wide of the target. But that's 2 chances now for Callum Wilson, who's just given an extra bit of presence, and it's definitely 2 up top, Castañas and Wilson.
Yeah, and you're looking, and he's 1v1 in the box there with that second cross, and all of a sudden the game has opened up. You feel in 15 minutes ago, both managers have almost come to an agreement and said, should we go for it now? Let's go for it. And they're leaving their attacking players forward. They're pushing numbers forwards in both ends.
Forest against Liverpool, 2 o'clock on 5 Live tomorrow, Sunday. The North London derby is at 4:30. Callum Wilson again hustling for possession at the edge of the box, but it's going to be a free kick to Bournemouth, a foul by Castellanos, who fouled Senesi in the build-up there. The Monday Night Club on 5 Live from 7 o'clock on Monday evening will be with Chappers, Chris Sutton, Rory Smith and Theo Walcott this Monday. On Tuesday we'll have live commentary of Newcastle against Qarabağ, the Champions League playoff second leg from 8 o'clock on Tuesday. You can listen to that game here on 5 Live.
Some comeback, wouldn't it?
This is Rayan, just outside the penalty area, low ball in. Scott, chance, good save for Hermansen. Scott from the edge of the area, did everything right, kept it low, went for the bottom corner. Hermansen with a good save.
Yeah, big save. And he had an eternity on the edge of the box just to pick his spot and just didn't quite get the connection he wanted that gave Hermansen the opportunity.
0-0, but it's tied till it's open. You feel there's a goal coming. Somerville into the penalty area for West Ham. Hill is with him, tries to clip it infield, controlled on his stomach by Callum Wilson. Back to Somerville, shoots, deflects, comes off the roof of the net. That could so easily have deflected in. It's going to be a corner to West Ham. That's as close as they've come today to a break in the deadlock.
Oh, the stadium waited as it hit Scott. Petrovic is on the floor, just looking up above him, going, please go over the bar. No one quite knew. He just slowly lobbed onto the roof of the net. It has gone end to end all of a sudden.
Corner to West Ham, no time to waste, 12 minutes to go. Crescencio Somerville, right-footed, in-swinger, goalkeeper can't get there, but it's wide of the target. Big chance. Not sure the last touch came off there, maybe Disasi. He's claiming it came off a defender, and now the officials agree with that assessment. So last touch off a defender means corner again.
Oh, it was Wilson. It came off. Here's a header from Wilson.
Sure, that did come off a defender. Doesn't be controversial. This is a goal. Somerville in swinger again. Petrovic under pressure, punches. Brooks unable to fully clear it out of the penalty area, but Krupi should do now, and he gives it a good old-fashioned up and under. Anywhere will do. There's a miscue by Wan-Bissaka, and Ryan Christie gets it down on the deck, and Rayan now with green grass to run into, and the Brazilian cruising forward again, and he tries to lay it in front of David Brooks, and Malik Diouf, who's having a fine game, makes another important interception. 0-0, but end-to-end of the moment on 5 Live at London Stadium. West Ham 0, Bournemouth 0. Malik Diouf has run from one penalty area to the other. He's got Castellanos available outside him. Gives it back to Malik Diouf. Infields now to Crescencio Somerville. A little bit of fatigue beginning to creep in. You can see in the body language. Players trying to suck oxygen into their lungs, knowing that there's a huge last 15 minutes or so to come here.
Well, the two shapes of the team as well. We're all over the place, and I think West Ham just said, let's both take a breather and get our shapes back, because everyone was everywhere, all over the pitch.
Here's Christie, middle of the midfield, sliding in and Jared Bowen. Bournemouth hold on to possession. Jimenez still getting the boos from the West Ham fans. Runs forward, and Malik Diouf again. He's been brilliant today. Brilliant tackle from Malik Diouf, not just to win the ball, but to come away with it and over the halfway line. And Somerville gives it to Castellanos, and now on to Callum Wilson into the penalty area. Right angle of the box, up against Truffert, who does well, and Truffert's block puts it out for a West Ham throw-in. 10 yards from the corner flag, they attack down the right-hand side. West Ham, who've given themselves the chance to maybe, just maybe, get out of the Premier League's relegation zone this weekend. But for that to happen, they've got to win here, and it's 0-0 as we enter the 80th minute. Tavernier's about to come on for Evan Nielsen here as we go back to the men's curling final in Mas Farouki.
Big save from Bruce Mowat at the end of the fourth end. They had made a mistake, GB, attempting a knockout, so trying to knock out the Yellow Stones of Canada from the house, the scoring area. They misjudged that, but their final stone was a draw, so they rolled that into the centre of that inner green ring, into the centre of that scoring area to pick up a point in the fourth end and move back level with Canada. So it's 3-3 after 4 ends.
Thanks very much, Mouse. Marcus Tavernier on, having missed the last 4 games with a hamstring injury, and he's straight into the action here. Tavernier bursting into the penalty area down the left-hand side. The angle is tight. He pulls it back, but there's no one to tap it in. Rayan arrives at the back post. That was brilliant from Tavernier. And then Scott tries to clip it in. It comes off Mugasa, who goes down. He's been hurt somehow. And that is going to be a throw into Bournemouth on the right-hand side. I'll tell you what, Callum Wilson might have scored with his first touch. Tavernier nearly did the same.
Well, he's just gone virtually the length of the pitch. And you're just thinking he's run out of road. Managed to squirm it across the 6-yard line. It just needed Evan Nielsen there.
It needed the man that he'd replaced.
Yes.
Yeah, they took off the number 9 just when they needed one.
Well, I was going to say, when there was a break, that it was an interesting move from Bournemouth, Areola, to say, well, we're under pressure.
we're going to be facing balls into the box, crosses. We'll not only take off our centre forward, but we'll take off one of our bigger players as well. But then all of a sudden, Tavernier does that, and you think, well, it could have been a masterstroke.
Tavernier, who scored a penalty against West Ham when these sides met at the Vitality in November. Magassa's okay, and it's going to be a throw-in, which James Hill is going to take. Slippery ball in his fingers, gets it in. Mavropanos is able to win the header on the edge of the 6-yard box, and West Ham clear away. The clock is edging towards 82 minutes now. This is Senesi, midway inside West Ham territory, gives it to Truffert in the left-back position. Both teams would be disgusted to lose this game from here, because they both know they could have won it. 0-0. Scott in possession, midway inside West Ham territory. Christie, fresh legs being utilised in the midfield now. Back to Christie once again from Truffert, infield to Senesi. No major press from West Ham here. They don't want to get cut out. They don't want to give space for Bournemouth to get in behind them. Jimenez to Tavernier, back to the halfway line again, and to James Hill. Good patience being displayed by Bournemouth here. This is Jimenez, that's a good ball. Down the right channel. Tavernier runs onto it, flicks it around the first defender, Disasi. Tavernier gets the shot away, but it's blocked by Mavropanos, and he nearly created something for himself again. I think he's fouled the defender in his lunge to make the shot, but that was very good from Tavernier.
Yeah, did brilliantly, really good run off the ball, give and go. Just Magassa, who was tracking initially, let him go. Managed to get back in front of him and just dragged him back. And in the end, Magassa did extraordinarily well to recover from his lapse in tracking him. What you do, you're right, Connor. You feel that both teams are looking at this game going, wow, 7 minutes, what a 3 points this would be if we could nick this.
And there have been a lot of late goals in West Ham games lately. Mugassa is still under pressure here. They're going to replace it. So Mugassa, who sort of a strange injury, was struck awkwardly by the ball from a shot earlier. Kante is going to come on. Mamadou Kante, the number 55. And Mugassa slowly leaving the pitch behind the goal away to our right-hand side. So that's an enforced change for Nuno Espirito Santo. 0-0 here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. But 4 of West Ham's last 7 games have been decided by a goal in the 89th minute or later. They won in stoppage time at Tottenham. They've seen 2 draws turn into defeats late on of West Ham. Late goals, and they missed a host of chances to double their lead against Manchester United before that late equaliser from Šeško in the last game here. So this ain't over yet.
Well, no one's leaving. That was in a stadium which is notorious for people leaving early. No one has left yet. Mugassa put a real shift in. I think he needs some help to get back to the bench. He's that slow walking around the pitch.
Scott runs into Kante, who does really well. That's brilliant from Kante. His first action in the match to win possession in the midfield. Now Aaron Wan-Bissaka heading it on to Jared Bowen. Truffert lunging in ahead of him. Really good from Truffert, because we know what a feisty character Bowen is, how determined he is to get the ball, but Truffert has outfoxed him there, and he wins a free kick for his trouble. Free kick to Bowen. How brave are they going to be here? No, they don't send the big men up. They just hold on to the play in the midfield. 0-0. 5 Live and BBC Sounds, this tea time game in the Premier League, as Tavernier controls the ball under pressure from Kante, has just come on. This is Alex Scott in the centre circle, plays a good pass out towards David Brooks on the left wing, and there's plenty of blue shirts making their way forward now. Truffert to the byline, hangs one in, Rayan was waiting for it to come to him, and Malik Diouf saves the day for West Ham again. A good interception, a very important interception, and out it goes for a throw into Bournemouth on the right-hand side.
Really good play from Truffert. Energy that he's shown to get beyond, and then the quality on the cross was there. Every time they put the cross in, West Ham backline have had the answer. They're going to have another question asked of him now with this long throw.
The rain is belting down. Bournemouth fans who've seen their team win each of the last 2 Premier League away games. It's been a long time since they won 3 in a row on the road in the Premier League. Bournemouth's thrown into the penalty area, but Jared Bowen is able to somewhat half clear it. Kante now will look to complete the job, and he properly gives it a a wallop. That's what Peter Kay in that advert, the habit ad, is tell you what, it's worked out to be a good pass. Bowen has sprinted after that. There was no way it was intended to be this, but it's worked out really well for Bowen. And here comes the cross. Wilson at the back post, and Petrovic with the fingertip is able to just guide it away. Still alive for Castellanos. He tries to cross, comes off Alex Scott. Castellanos trying to keep it alive, but I don't know if he closed his eyes or something, but it came off the top of his head awkwardly there, and Scotty's able to eventually clear for Bournemouth up towards the halfway line, where Krupi jumps but is easily beaten by Disasi, but then it's won back in the midfield by Christie, and this is Krupi to Rayan on the right hand side. Bournemouth hoping for a strong finish here. 0-0 on 5 Live. Good ball from Rayan into Krupi, who shoots on target, but saved by Hermansen once again. 3.5 minutes of normal time to play.
The game is so stretched, and one that's been played so much in midfield. There's barely a midfield on either team now. If you just stand in midfield, you can get the ball and have acres of space, and it was a good save from Hermansen. You're thinking, he's been hosing it down for a good half of this game and just needed to watch and wait for that ball and be measured, and he's shown that tonight, and amongst the chaos that has been there at times.
This is all set for a late dramatic winner, for one of these teams to leave the pitch in ecstasy and the other to be completely distraught, and we don't know which way it's going to go. If indeed it's going to go, or is it going to be yet another draw between these two, as it always seems to be. Poor pass, Rayan gives it away to Kante. Now Kante running long strides from the centre circle, gets to the edge of the penalty area. Bowen is in support to the right hand side, infield to Somerville, but it's a weak pass. Somerville's done really well to keep it alive. Into Wilson back to Somerville, must be. Oh, he couldn't get it into the shooting position, and it's blocked away by Jimenez. And Crescencio Somerville, it was like it was stuck under his own feet there. He couldn't get the body shape to get the shot away.
Inches behind him, and it's brilliant unselfish play from Wilson. Knows that Somerville's 6 yards out. He just needs the ball in front of him, and it's maybe 6 inches behind him. Just can't get it out. Just when you think Bournemouth are going to have an attack and break away, they give it away, and West Ham come back. This last third of this game has been end-to-end and breathtaking.
Another change, a double change for Bournemouth late on. They're going to bring on the veteran Adam Smith. He's a defender. And they're going to bring on the Turkish attacker Enes Ünal. So Ünal, who scored against West Ham in November, that's been his only Premier League goal this season. He comes on in place of Krupi, and Smith has replaced Jimenez. Jimenez, who's had a very good game. But Andoni Iraola obviously feeling he needs fresh minds as well as fresh legs for these closing defensive moments with 90 seconds of normal time to play. Corner to West Ham. Jared Bowen prepares to take it. In-swinger again. Petrovic stumbles, and it's going to go out for another corner. Corner again to West Ham as they try to raise the temperature even further.
He does well, just gets a touch on it, Petrovic. He's under pressure, he's fighting so many people in there. No one fouling him, just weight of numbers around him. Every time it's come in on top of him.
Here comes the corner, played in by Somerville this time. Header won by Ünal, who's just come on. He hasn't been able to fully clear the penalty area, but out comes Petrovic, and he's able to pick it up. And Bournemouth breathe again, and they tried to launch a counter-attack. Petrovic, what a distribution that is, to pick out Tavernier on the left-hand side. Brooks wanted it played in early, and he's disappointed that Tavernier opted for a safer option, turning and rolling it back to Truffert. West Ham 0, Bournemouth 0. It's been a competitive game, but neither team has been able to make the breakthrough, and we've got 30 seconds remaining of the 90 minutes, and it'll be interesting to see what's added on. There won't be any huge amount, a few minutes maybe, as we wait for the fourth official to raise the board any second now. This is Truffert on the left-hand side. Ünal tries the flick on. They've swapped the wingers. Rayan's gone to the left, and Brooks has gone to the right. West Ham lose it. You can hear the groans in the midfield. Christie tries to get away from Kante. Oh, he's done well, Christie. Now he's got options ahead of him. Tries to play it in front of Rayan. Out comes Wan-Bissaka, though, to just cut that out in front of the goalkeeper. And Rayan is going to sprint and pursue after him as we are into 6 minutes being added on for stoppages. 6 minutes to go. 0-0. This could still be a West Ham win. It could still be a Bournemouth win. Mateus Fernandes battling in the midfield, up against Truffert, right up against the touchline. The ball goes out, throw into West Ham. They take it maybe too quickly. Kante on the halfway line, lofts it towards Somerville, one of the smallest players on the pitch, and he's beaten in the air by Smith.
There's errors everywhere now.
all over the pitch.
Mateus Fernandes, Castellanos looks to be offside, controls it on the edge of the box, no flag. Smith puts it out for a corner, and is it going to come back for a belated offside? It is, I think. It's not going to be a corner.
Well, there's a conversation going on between
Didn't raise the flag.
No, the assistant referee and Sam Barrett, the referee, to say, was he offside? I don't know. Well, let's give something. He's pushed him.
Given the free kick.
Yeah. I think that all in all, I think they've just about got to the right decision at the end.
Earlier on today, England 21, Ireland 42. Ireland's record win at Twickenham in the Six Nations. Wales 23, Scotland 26. A late comeback from Scotland to win that game in the Six Nations today. And the Six Nations continuing. France against Italy tomorrow afternoon. Here in the Premier League, 0-0. It's not the worst result for either team, but it's not the 3 points they really wanted. Offside flag is raised against Bournemouth here. Unal probably was fouled, but because he was in an offside position, it's not going to be a free kick to Bournemouth. It's a free kick to West Ham.
West Ham fans and players not happy with Sam Barrett because Conte was away and driving through that midfield, and he was offside, and he went down injured. It was an innocuous fall from him. Player with a lot of history of injuries, hasn't he?
West Ham, who haven't had a league win this season against any team higher than 9th place in the table, and Bournemouth, who haven't lost this season in the Premier League to any team lower than 12th place, and maybe both those stats are going to remain intact if it stays like this. 0-0. We've already played 2.5 minutes of the 6 minutes that's been added on for injury, but this Premier League season would just come up with so many late stings in the tail. You never know. Hill at the back for Bournemouth. Rolls it to the goalkeeper, Petrovic. West Ham had baying at him to get on with it. There definitely feels like there's more urgency for the home team here. Truffert up to Unal, onto Rean now, and he's immediately slid into by Mateus Fernandes. Good tackle. Volko's had to play for a throw into Bournemouth. So Bournemouth on the attack here. We're now midway through the 6 minutes of stoppages.
Yeah, you look at the games that West Ham have got coming up, and how difficult a run of games you feel in these 3 minutes. Point, yes, it helps, but 3 points is just to put scoreboard pressure on the teams around them is kind of key. I feel that fans know that.
West Ham away at Liverpool, away at Fulham, then they've got Manchester City at home. Jared Bowen wins possession in the midfield. Somerville to his left-hand side. Takes too long getting the pass away, though, and Tavernier is able to nip in and win it back for Bournemouth. Here's Ryan Christie. Kante launches it and fouls in. Free kick to Bournemouth on the halfway line. Back to the Winter Olympics, back to Masfarouki.
This is very finely poised, but with Canada having the hammer in the fifth end, it's all about GB trying to limit their opportunities to score, and they did that. Canada able to pick up just a point in the fifth end, so they lead GB 4-3 midway through this Olympic men's curling final.
Something about limiting the opposition's capacity to score about this one as well. 0-0 at London Stadium between West Ham and Bournemouth, with 2 minutes of stoppages to go, and West Ham are holding a very high defensive line here. The free kick is on the halfway line. They are positioning themselves well outside the penalty area as the free kick is taken. Into the box it goes. Jumping. Hill can't win a clean header. Maybe chance of a counter-attack here. Bournemouth has sent all the defenders forward. Somerville over the halfway line. He's made up 30 yards. He's made up 40 yards. He's almost into the penalty area. Trouffert's got a slide. Bowen puts it over the top. What a late chance for West Ham to win it. Jared Bowen, who had run the length of the field to get forward to have that shot inside the penalty area, and he's hurt himself in the process of trying to get the shot away. Truffert just about stopping what might have won the game.
Well, this was the chance they were waiting for. Truffert just putting enough pressure on Jared Bowen. The West Ham fans, the players are asking for a penalty. Jared Bowen's still down.
So just to paint the picture, the ball is played across the area. Bowen's arriving from the right wing. He cleanly gets there first. He gets the shot away off target. But then after the ball is left, Truffert arrives in late, and definitely there is contact. And the video assistant referee will be looking at this at the moment. I'll tell you what drama this would be in the 96th minute if West Ham were to get a penalty. I don't think they are. But
no, I can't see it. I can't see how it was enough pressure without there being enough contact from Truffert. It was a breakaway and end-to-end, and fitting for the game, wasn't it, really, that this was another end-to-end attack but coming to nothing.
Right, the 6 minutes are almost up. There might be another minute or so to go. Petrovic sends it down the field. It's interesting how many players Bournemouth sent forward there for that free kick, and how West Ham were nearly able to bite them by counter-attacking when the free kick didn't work out. Throw into Bournemouth on the right-hand side. Not great urgency about taking this. Hill comes across, and as soon as Hill comes across, the West Ham defenders all take about 3 steps backwards because they know that he's got a long throw here. The 97th minute of this tea time game. 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Could Bournemouth possibly win this at the very death? Here it comes from Hill, launches it in after arching his back. The header is won though, and the referee blows the final whistle, and this game does end, as it always seems to between West Ham and Bournemouth, as a draw. West Ham 0, Bournemouth 0. It is 3 league games unbeaten for West Ham now. They are certainly giving themselves a big chance of survival. A win here today would have been really good in terms of putting pressure on Forest and Spurs just to bump them in the table, but it's 1 defeat in their last 6 in the league now for Nuno Espirito Santo's team. That is not bad at all from their point of view, and for Bournemouth, their current unbeaten run keeps rolling too. Rob Green.
Yeah, I think you'd think that Bournemouth will be happy at the point. The pressure, the scoreboard pressure, the position that West Ham are in would have wanted that 3 points. And you're looking at the opportunity where Callum Wilson just laying off Somerville towards the end. That was the opportunity for West Ham to win it. Chances at a premium. Effort was there for both ends, both teams in the second half. It was end-to-end in the second half, but just not that cutting edge from either team.
So this is a scoreline that will be welcomed by fans of Forest and Spurs. Spurs who go into the North London derby tomorrow, 4 points clear of the relegation zone. If Igor Tudor could get a win, and it's certainly very opposite ends of the table for those 2 local neighbours going into that game, but if Spurs could win it, that would be a huge boost now, and West Ham dropping points here could end up significant in this relegation battle. I think what we can say, Rob, is that both teams gave it everything today. They both really wanted to win this one.
Yeah, less said about the first half the better, really, but then they're just waiting for that moment to push the button and say, let's go for it. You felt that maybe Bournemouth had the better shape and the better personnel to do that, but West Ham certainly had the opportunities and also the fans behind them to keep this momentum going. But in all, when you look at the point, you look at the league position, both teams, Forest and Spurs, will look at it and say a real opportunity tomorrow.
So it does finish as a draw, just as it did back in November when these sides played at the Vitality. 2-2 back then, 0-0 today. It is now 6 draws in a row in the Premier League in games between West Ham and Bournemouth. So I'm sure fans of both teams will want to get involved in what's coming next on 5 Live. Plus, up and down the football pyramid, up and down the country today, it's time on 5 Live to have your say, because it's time for 606 with Chris Sutton and Aaron Paul.